Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
All right, here we go. Shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Welcome to another exciting day. Um, Now it depends on if the excitement is a positive or a negative. You know, yesterday morning I woke up to some news regarding one of some people's favorite senators. That is something that um, is a little bit. I always looked at this. I had to ask the Most High because we always ask ourselves that question: why are the wicked allowed to succeed? Why are the wicked allowed to excel? And then I always delve into the, well, Father, how much longer do we have here? Why is, I understand our generation is the one that has to go through this. And then I lament and I said, well, Father, can this not go, a little sooner? Can this not, because we all go through those feelings. A lot of people want to we want to press fast forward. Let's get through this. Let's get through this scene and let's see how we come out on top. And the Most High's like, that's not how that's done. We have to go through the fire. There's a process to it. We always want to get on to the other side, but there's a process. And if I'm not speaking to anybody, I'm speaking to myself, obviously, this morning, and that's okay. Because you have to learn things along the way in this process. You have to get beat down. You have to go through things. You have to toil emotionally and physically and spiritually. But the best thing is that as you're going through these processes, it's amazing how you may know more, understand more, be able to cope more than what you may see with your family, with your friends, with your children, with your parents, with your cousins. Because why? Because you are going through something that they really cannot understand. Now, do they understand the bad? Yeah, they see the bad. They're seeing all of these things happening all in front of us. You have stories coming out now of our children not making it when it comes to getting into these ponds and things of that nature. Ponds, lakes, you name it. Because why? Because it's an effort of conspiracy. And I know it's hard for people to understand and rationalize this because You would think that in a rational society, there's some sort of a framework of common sense or something else that helps to shape how we're able to make sense of things. And the reality is, we've always been able to see that this world was broken, but a lot of people did not want to recognize it because that messes with their narrative. And when we were speaking out about, well, this place is broken, this place is this place is that. Oh, you're fear mongering, you're hating. Remember all that stuff? I'd get emails, brother Karras, I think you need to encourage, and I think you need to. I would get all those emails, brother Karras. I think, hallelujah. I appreciate what you think. I come on up here because the Most High is telling me what I need to say. I pray how I'm able to say it so it doesn't sound really, really crazy. Exactly, Pastor Rick. Yeah, you're causing division, etc. Yep. And shout out to Pastor Rick. I was popping in listening to you on Shabbat. And yeah, this is hard. These are hard times. These are hard times. And I look at things and I'm a little tired because my son said, "Hey dad, he wanted to run on out with me to pick something up yesterday." And I'm like, okay, any bit of time that I can. And when I was out with him to grab some stuff, we had run into his friends. Both of his friends, one works at a as a mechanic, does really well. And another one, he is in college and he is in the Army Reserve. And when we were talking, I told him, I said, hey, please be careful. Please be careful. And, you know, it was interesting because when he was telling me he had graduated, he's obviously my son's age, 20 years old. He had graduated back in 2024 and had gone into the military at that time. And, I'm going to say this, that was safer. It was safer, but, when you understand where and how this direction was going, I would tell my kids, and I've spoken to my kids about it. Look, I'm not going to control their lives, but I do want them to be able to understand that the choices that they make is going to potentially and will potentially have an impact on their futures, especially, and I told them this, especially going into the military. And as I was speaking to his friend was telling me that that his unit was having some folks getting mobilized to deploy over to Kuwait. And I'm like, that makes sense. because there's different areas of CENTCOM. In the Navy, you have NAVCENT. In the Army, you have RCENT. NAVCENT is over in Bahrain. RCENT is headquartered out of Kuwait at Arajan. And then from there, you're giving your orders as to where you're going to support within the theater, within the CENTCOM AOR, area of responsibility. And to me, what that means is this: when you have a lot of, and he wasn't the only one. There are more folks that I'm speaking with that I've gotten some information behind the scenes. You know, people are mobilizing. People are getting that call up. Hey, you're going on active duty. And I'm going to tell you, for a lot of people, especially in this day and age, a lot of people see that that's welcome news. I'm on orders. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to have a paycheck for at least a couple of months, if not a year. But the problem that they're running into is that this isn't a deployment of old, where you would have just a little bit of RPG attacks and maybe at the most, some sort of, you know, land attack missile, damage a building or a room or two. The battlefield has changed. People are presumably being deleted. They're monitoring comms, they're monitoring communications, they're listening in on the channels, they're understanding. This is why you have to be aware that they'll have their sources, gathering capabilities, and people aren't going to say much. Because why? Because why are you going to kill off your your surveillance, your asset? People don't know who they're talking to. People don't know what's going to be stated. Well, if you say that, that could jeopardize the lives. Look, I haven't mentioned any people. I haven't mentioned any units. This is now becoming common knowledge that folks are getting that letter, that email. Folks are going up to their drills, and their drills are telling them, hey, you're on a 90-day warning order. Get your affairs in order. Hey, you're on 60 days. Hey, your orders are coming through. Be prepared. Let your people at work know. Will you even have a job when you come back to work? Will your job already be liquidated due to AI? So we are at day 136 here. This is day 136 in this war. This war never stopped. He didn't have a cessation of hostilities. He didn't really have anything that was actually really measurable. There's nothing really specific in terms of what that performance looked like. So everybody could say this and say that. They know that the reading levels, the metals in drinking water, everything that is here has messed up the thought and intellectual capacities of things. You can tell that when things are in the drinking water that causes explosive diarrhea. I kid you not. Here in the United States. So again, with all the fluoride in the water, with all the heavy metals in the water, that helps to support mental, physiological changes so your brain isn't functioning. People think that this is a game, that this is funny when you've had an explosion and autism. No, they engineered it to be that way. And the Most High has allowed us, most of us, to come out unscathed. Pharaoh is lurking. And I told you, Pharaoh's been lurking because, again, I believe, my personal opinion, I believe they know the time frame better than us. My question is going to be, who here is going to then pop smoke? And again, in their evil calculations, it's, well, if I'm out, then I'm going to take out as many folks with me, especially Yahudim, especially those Hebrews. I don't want them to see the world that the Most High has waiting for them. So you're seeing what it has become because, again, just because there's no outward testable, that's what they would say, testable, assessed levels, you still have children that have to have IEPs and things of that nature because simply you just cannot concentrate. They want to learn, they want to understand, and then when they get frustrated, then when that frustration, what do people do? They disengage. This is now the most, in my opinion, socially engineered society that we've ever lived in. But if you don't know what social engineering looks like, then you're just going to disengage because you are going to be the product. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Let me see what's on TV. Let me see what's on YouTube. Let me see. Because why? Because then they won. Until you're finding out that you only have less than a couple of weeks to where gas will then become the operational bottom, i.e., here comes fuel rationing. But didn't we say that? Didn't we say, oh, Trump was saying that he's going to be able to do all of these different things to maneuver around, to buy some time? Yeah. That dude dipped into the gas savings. You want to know what's money? That was real money. He dipped into savings. He dipped into the oil. Oh, you dipped into the oil. The oil was actually the money, the representation of this fiat currency. I don't know why Iran did this and did that. It's so amazing. When you ask people, how did this war start? Well, Iran did something. Wow. What did Iran do? I don't know, but they're blowing stuff up. How did they get there? I don't know, but I see things are being blown up. Do you see how that goes? How do you reconcile with a people, a nation, a group that can't think? You really can't. That is what you had in the 1940s, early 1940s, in that place over there in Europe. You just didn't have it with Hitler. You had it with Franco and Mussolini. I think people forget about that. Why do you think those are the two countries that Trump doesn't like? Has anybody thought about that? How come he doesn't like Italy or Spain? Germans are kind of whatever. They're on out there. France is like, well, we're trying to do our best to manage a relationship, but they can't do anything because when people realize that you can flip the script on parasites when you realize that you have a parasite. All right, I got this snake. Well, I'm going to use these snakes to go against the bigger snake. See how that works? Italy and Spain had Mussolini and Franco, respectively. Those were dictators that were aligned with Hitler in Germany. So let me ask you something that right now, technically speaking, this generation's about 2 to 3 generations away from World War II. This is that generation, 2 to 3 generations away from World War II. And now this generation coming up are your grandparents and great, or excuse me, the grandchildren and great grandchildren of that generation. We'll never get back to this. We'll never get back to that. Lest we forget and we fight a bigger war. Do you understand? There was a multi generational conditioning, especially here in the United States. See, you have to understand what a lot of people aren't realizing, as I was explaining, the U.S. is going through bankruptcy procedures. What is Trump doing with all the money? Ransacking everything. Because why? Because he's paying back them folks that are owed the money from America. Wealth redistribution through what? Through all means and any means possible, from crypto to predictive marketing, through all sorts of investment schemes. That's what they're doing. And now at the very end, it's now going to be a liquidation of lives, because it's going to be a liquidation of real property or real estate. Got to start taking over the land. Oh, you can't pay your mortgage? Sorry. Oh, you're upside down on that adjustable rate? Sorry. It was never about helping people. It was about prosecuting and carrying out the ability to literally wage war globally, so that then the world would have a sour taste on the United States. Now, I'm going to add in my little bit of 2 cents here for Lindsey Graham. I'm going to add in my 2 cents. This is just my opinion. You could take it how you want to take it, and you can go from there. But it's my opinion. You have a lot of reporting going on, conspiracies, all these different things happening. But one of the things that they were trying to state or mention, I'm going to share this article. This is again from Barack Ravid. He is definitely a highly compromised individual. So I want to read this with a high dose of speculation and a very high gram of salt of understanding the propaganda inside Lindsey Graham's final push for Saudi-Israel peace. Senator Lindsey Graham, who died suddenly Saturday, spent his final weeks laying the groundwork for an ambitious new push to normalize relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel. He told me in multiple conversations over the past weeks. Why it matters: Graham was one of Washington's most influential and energetic foreign policy figures. He spent decades trying to shape America's role in the world and was still pursuing some of the biggest diplomatic ambitions in the final hours of his life. Okay. So basically, understanding the character and the nature of Lindsey Graham. He was a warmonger. Plain and simple. We got to take it to him. We got to hit him hard. And because, they're not going to listen, he was a warmonger. He was a warmonger. There's never any peace, any peace for folks that continue to warmonger. Okay. Normalize relations to do what? To take over Saudi Arabia. The Arabian Peninsula. I'd just say southern Greece, just in my opinion. That's a debate for another day, another channel. Here's the reality of things. Man, and Sister Gates of Holda, she nailed this a couple of weeks ago. You know, when you are getting ready to lose something, when you know that what you're trying to advocate for is impossible, so in that culture, because it's been done before in that culture, on YouTube, I like to watch a lot of the historical things. It's called Kings and Generals. So I'll listen on in and get some, just get some insight. But when you see and understand a lot of the first Roman conquest that was happening as they were using their hoplite techniques that they had used from Greece and adapted it for Roman warfare, what Rome would always do would it would be they would do this. And this is historical, they would do this. They would know that they would ride into battle expecting to be defeated. But as they were defeated, they would say, use my death, mark my death, either for vengeance or the act of them trying to win that campaign. So they would try to sacrifice themselves. He paid the ultimate sacrifice for what he believed, his virtues, his morals. Do you see that? For us, we would say, why would you do that when what you believe was wicked? Okay, you could do that. I don't care. That's not going to move me. Well, aren't you moved by his by what he's doing, how he's doing things? Aren't you moved by how his convictions are with what other genocidal actions? See, the problem is, like I had stated, and I don't think a lot of people truly understand, there are dynamics to the rest of this world that we only get a little bit of what they want to show. Those particular dynamics. The reality on the ground is that Saudi Arabia is about 70%, made up of 70% of folks of non Arab phenotypes. So the reality is that at any time, Saudi Arabia could be overthrown. That's why they're afraid. They're a kingdom within a kingdom. And they are highly afraid of their population group. You have Shiites over in eastern Saudi Arabia, and Shiites are linked to Iran. That's the same religious sect. Of Islam. The issues that they have will spill over, and it would lead to a lot of overthrow. And what is happening is that there is not a lot of the backings per se from their population groups that want to normalize anything with that Eastern Mediterranean nation. They just don't. And that isn't just in Saudi Arabia. That's also been happening in places like Bahrain and other places around the Arabian Peninsula. And what that's also doing is that's also linking your Sunnis and your Shiites, because this isn't along the lines of sectarianism. Now this is a bigger deal. You don't hear, well, I think that's a Sunni or Shiite problem. You don't hear that mess anymore. They'll say this is a problem facing all of the Ummah. I believe that's what they have, like their body of believers, their version of the body of believers in the Islamic faith. You have to do it for justice. You have to do it for integrity. You got to do it because, as they would say, Allah sees all things. We would say that's just righteousness that the Most High has already declared in his word. You know, I think it's funny because when I was on out there getting an understanding of a lot of these things, sorry, just a second. Um, they would always say, you know, they'll go into some Quranic scripture and they'll say, you know, um, our Quran, it's based on the Bible. You don't say. And that would be their effort to, you know, proselytize and things of that nature. But you know, when I say these things, I'm not going to denigrate or say anything regarding um, Islam or things of that nature. That's not my job. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to explain to you all how the Most High moves, because his word is the foundation on anything and everything. And they've used that foundation. Don't get it twisted. It's not just Christianity that uses that foundation. It's all of these religions or these religious authorities because they have to be able to provide their sprinkling of lies on the foundation of the truth. And that truth is the Most High's word. Yes, yes, but in the Quran it says this, and it's similar to that. No, there's no similarities. What they try to do is they try to obfuscate everything. That's the context right there. We got to obfuscate. We got to give smoke and mirrors. See, it's not that bad. It's this, it's that. Every basis is from some sort of scriptural authority based on the word. And that's how that goes. So they can try to obfuscate and do all sorts of craziness and everything else. But again, it'll work for a minute. And that's what I'm trying to say. It'll work for a minute. The problem is that when they realize that everything that they do, that all the things that they're doing is in accordance with what the word has literally stated, then who do you believe? Why do you think they have to have these missionaries go into Africa? And well, I understand what you're saying, but but my version of Christianity, do you get what I'm telling you? And they're allowed to do it because, again, that was the multi-generational social engineering. Hey, let's take away everything. The Most High allowed them to do that. He allowed them to strip our culture, to strip our names, to strip the land, to capture us, to force us onto slave ships, to remove us. Why do you think they're trying to come up with, oh, you're indigenous now? Man, they're trying to say that now because they don't want that declaration of war stated. Because again, that to me, my personal opinion, that's another construct of white supremacy. Oh, we didn't take any you because you were all here first. See, no. Let's be a little bit wiser. Well, it's Seminoles, yes, Cimarrones, Seminoles, a slave, you know, black folks that had ran away, and instead of going north, they went south and they stayed in them swamps. Oh, you're indigenous now. Why are they saying that? Because they don't want to pay you. Behold, I hold myself not guilty. That's Zechariah 11:5. So what are they going to do? I'm going to come up with all these constructs. If that wasn't the case, See, you're wrong. Because they'll never want to tell you what it is that they've done, how they've done things. And now they're getting mad at Iran because you want to know why? Because Iran isn't taking the bait. They're not. Well, I don't know why they can't just fall in line and everything else and they done told them. Look, let me ask Sister Chantel, and I'll speak on this. Shalom, Sister Chantel.
Shalom, shalom to everyone in the chat. I hope you've had a good weekend. You know, um,
Well, it was fireworks. Just the other fireworks.
I'm trying to stay up to date with everything. I so you're gonna have to fill me in because there's been so much.
There's been a lot. Yeah, you got revelations going on with our young brother Nolan Wells, our young nephew.
Oh yes,
You know, the mom was contacted by one of the people. Look, I told you their story is cracking. Look, look, and you know the funny thing, it's not funny, but what that shows is the spirit of white supremacy isn't really, it's not holding together like that.
no,
Just in my opinion, the spirit of white supremacy isn't really holding together like that. You know, and now you know, it's alleged that that one of the people there reached out to the mom and that basically, you know, let everything go and again, yeah, they do try to cover everything up. Again, that is Mississippi.
hold on. The last thing I heard that they never told her what happened. They took his phone and tried to make out like, oh yeah, we haven't seen him, but they had his phone.
Well, yeah, so there's a lot of things that are coming that are I'm not going to say that I am the expert of this because I'm not. But um they're saying yeah that he got deleted at the pool party because it was a gang, you know, people jumped him. They were drinking, he got jumped and he got unalived.
Of course he did. And you know the funny thing is, because I thought that I saw that video and I thought that was the first thing. And I know that everybody probably, you know, all of our people probably thought probably thought that as well. They
Mhm.
all they all ended him. And like I said, this feels like every time one of us ends up being uh, destroyed by a group of them, it always feels like a ritual. It always, what comes to mind is that show on Prime. Was it They or Them or I can't remember.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah,
It was
that just comes to mind every time. There is a spirit on these people, even so much to the point where a lot of them are actually coming out saying, "You need to just stay away from us now, stay away from us because we can't be trusted." They're telling us exactly. They did sacrifice that boy. I really truly believe that.
yeah,
But
they and again, yeah, Maribel saying, you know, they tried that. They were trying that with Carmelo. He got away, and now since he got away, um, they're trying to
someone,
sacrifice him through lawfare, and now he's getting ready to. They filed his appeal. He's going to get ready to get released. You see what I'm saying? So, and they're going to go to trial, and then when they go to trial, I just pray that they wipe and they take everything for that little podunk town communities, coffers, because again, that county has insurance.
Mm.
Those lawyers have insurance for any type of malpractice or anything else. So Benjamin Crump, there you go. You can have your payday. Somebody should be disbarred. Folks should be thrown off the bench
You know,
and
I was
and
watching.
and in jail. That's what and in jail, because those are criminal offenses to that, for that type of gross misconduct. Now they won't be able to do that, and not in this administration. So they'll have time to, all things considered. When people say, "Oh, we're going to vote," and then this administration, I think this is it. This is the last administration, just in my opinion. I was
I'm so
telling you
glad
all
you cleared that up because when you
that.
said in this
Yeah,
administration, I'm like, I don't think there's going to be another one.
no, no, this is the last one, because why? Because again, he's trying to let you all know, Trump is, that you weren't going to vote for anything else. Why is that? Because do you think they're going to stop with this? Still, they'll probably. Actually, I'm going to tell you this. It was the ebbs and flow. The ebbs and the flow. At the end of this week, on Sunday, this Sunday coming on up, that's the end of the World Cup. People go home. And they can't go home soon enough because, again, they're just trying to keep up the facade, this paper house, until they're out and about. We only look, technically speaking, they said it's like last month that we had 3 weeks. I would say this. Now they're really concerned because, again, they were all timing this, in my opinion, for late July, early August. Because why? Because that's the end of the World Cup. The World Cup was supposed to be able to show everybody the splendor of the United States. See, we still have it. We're still this, we're still that, we're still great in the middle of a war. In the middle of a war that they prosecuted, or they started. There was no look. You throw the first punch. It's not because somebody felt they looked at me funny, so they started. So that's why I threw the punch.
Or they stepped on my shoe.
Yeah, at least it was. Look, Iran didn't even step on shoes.
No.
They looked at me funny. I had a feeling. And then you know what that doesn't? You know what that does? That does not impact black folks like that. At anything, we're just like, okay, we can totally empathize with Iran because y'all do the same stuff to us.
That's why I came on actually when you was explaining that, and I was gonna say, what does that sound like? That just sounds like us.
Yeah.
They're treating them how they treat us.
Yeah. Do you think the rest of the world are going to, be treated like black folks? I'm sorry, I don't mean to denigrate, but I'm just saying it's the truth. Do you think they're going to be like, yeah, you treat, and they always say this, you treat me like I'm black.
Iran would be like, are you kidding? We're the original Aryans. What are you talking about? What are you doing?
Yeah, they actually are.
They were looking at me like, are you crazy? We started this. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. But look, all that destruction and everything else that's going on in Iran, excuse me, not in Iran, in the Middle East as we speak. And again, the US got mad. This is what happened. Let me explain it. The US got mad because Iran had got him into the MOU. Because the US wanted to get the MOU because, again, And JD Vance was saying this. He was, these people are so ignorant that they literally state everything out front. What is that? That's Obadiah. That was JD Vance. So we're just trying to fill up our reserves again. Give us enough time to fill up our reserves. That's Obadiah. So all their shame is uncovered. Because why? Because they're telling on themselves. You see what I'm saying? It's a spiritual stupor on them. Oh, you really did that? Yeah, but I am who I am, right? You gotta like me. You gotta like me. I'm now that witchcraft isn't working.
And it's kind of like I said, it's what they've been doing to us. They're trying to do to the rest of the world. It's kind of like it's spilling out. They spent so many decades repressing that because they had to set the good example. Remember, these people, they want to be the angels, they want to be on the side of angels, so they have to portray that they are just and righteous and the American way. So they'll point and wag their finger at everybody while still doing filth in their own country. And then, like, we're seeing this spillage of them mistreating others and doing what they did to us to everybody else. And they're like, you can't carry on like that. So it's like how how they sat at China and started telling China about, oh, you're oppressive, and look at the Uyghurs, you're treating them as slaves, and this is modern day slavery, and China just looked at them like,
Who are you talking?
like, shut up. What are you talking about? Like, and I love the fact that he directed it right back to them. Like, they weren't having none of that. They were not having none of that. Like, you're the one to turn and say this to me when you got a whole bag of people up in your prison house.
Yep.
Picking cotton still. Like, we've all seen that video. That was recent.
Mm.
So when these people would turn around and say, oh, you ain't no slave, and I wasn't a slave owner, I'm like,
yeah, they try to deflect, and that's the whole point of this. It's not me, it's you. Wait, what? It's not. Look, because again, we all know the deal. We all know that at the very end, when they get the brakes beat off of them, because why? Because black folks we're over this. We saw this. We said it. We know what's getting ready to happen. All we're trying to do is, all right, how do we come together to make sure that we are able to at least formulate a plan that we can be protected? That's it. We already know what this was looking like. We already understood the deal. And now, again, this is a war of deflection, misdirection, all of these different things, again, that the MOU was violated by the United States. The United States did violate territorial sovereignty by striking Iran. That was an act of war.
it was.
Now, I look at it, look, Mojtaba, he wasn't backing down from, the deletion comments. He wasn't backing down. Oh, I shouldn't say anything about this. Dude's like, man, you killed my pops. It's going to be divine retribution.
They still haven't forgotten what they did to to their general.
Yeah,
The same
Soleimani.
president as well.
Yeah, Soleimani back in 2020. I remember that.
Mm.
And then you took out Khamenei, Ali Khamenei, Mushaba's pops. Nah, look, you take out my pops, I'm coming for you. I'm just surprised that he hasn't. Look, he's better than me. He's better than me. I don't care who you is. I would be on Iranian state broadcast media looking just like Loke Dog. Pop up that U.S. Postal. Do We have a problem. I will be hitting that button like multiple times, like I'm hitting that Jeopardy buzzer. Beep, 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 beep. What is 1,000-ton nuclear weapon for 100, Alex? You take out my pops. Get out of here. That's why. Listen. That's why he's in. That's why he hasn't been on any type of interviews. I wouldn't be on any interviews too. Now you just gonna have to put a statement on out there for me, because if I get on out there, y'all ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say.
The eye will be twitching.
Yeah, you ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say. But put that statement on out there. You don't even want to see me, because I'll be having my thumb go in that parallel direction, right from left to right, across the throat, and I'll be pointing at. No, we could. No. They're better than me. They're better than me. And now understand at that funeral reception, now he's shook. Changing planes. Fortifying DC. Like DC's getting fortified now. It's looking like literally that civil war. But why would it be that way? Because this dude closed off the Strait of Hormuz, which means that people are going to be scrambling here in the United States in the next couple of weeks. You're only going to have oil then for emergency personnel.
Yeah.
Civil servants, emergency personnel.
And still expected to go to work on time.
Well, how can you go to work?
Yeah, well, I know that. You know that.
Yeah, you're going to be going to work on rations, either rations or carpooling, public transportation. We're going to have to make sacrifices, but I'm not going to make a sacrifice. You all are going to make the sacrifice. And together, we're going to make America stronger again. I mean, make my bank account stronger again, my portfolio, my crypto trades. Oh, boy, here comes a troublemaker.
What's up, fam?
Still on troublemaker. We're at war again.
When were we ever not at war?
Still on, big bro.
Hey, Sister Chantel, how you been?
I'm good.
Oh.
Have y'all noticed that we are changing as a people? Like,
yes. Go ahead.
You look at the continent, right? They're fighting the colonizer. You look at us here, they're pew-pewing them folks, where before we would be the victims and we would be like, let's hug, kiss, let's forgive, right? And they had us so locked down with that Christianity stuff that we wouldn't even lift up to defend ourselves. That is disappearing. You can notice it, right? And
go ahead.
Even like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, he might be in jail, but he's still alive. The other kid not. Right? And so, this thing is starting to flip. And look, here's the deal. When you realize who you are, and, even some of the people on the continent who may not, but you can see the curses are lifting because we're no longer, being stepped on, where we not fighting back, right? If you touch us, I might touch you back. If you hit me, I might hit you back, right? And that's the difference I'm seeing today. Because, look, I don't care what any Christians say. All that turn of the cheek stuff was all out of context. You go look at the Old Testament and you look at the war posture that Israel had. Israel was always fighting these people, right? But once we went into captivity, we became sheep, right? But the Most High said we are his battle axe and weapons of war. But yeah.
Sheep to the what? Sheep to the
What's
slaughter.
That?
Sheep to the slaughter.
Yeah, sheep to the slaughter. Yep. But things starting to flip.
Jacoba, can I ask you a question? I find it. Don't you find it fascinating that these Christians, both white and black, and everything in between, can turn around and say how you you got to turn the other cheek, and you got to this, that, and the other, and they don't want to delve in and understand that Israel was about yeah, we were about throwing hands. We were about doing the Most High. We was his battle axe, right? And that's in the Old Testament. But then they want to try and move away from the Old Testament, but yet still they want to hold on to parts of the Old Testament that talk about tithing and also talk about all the blessings that literally has nothing to do with them. If you read it properly, it has nothing to do with them at all. I find it so fascinating that they want to dip their toes in when they want to. But then when it comes to things like, well, you should actually defend yourself, they don't want to recognize that. Also, with the same thing in the same breath where they talk about, oh, you need to pay tithes and so on and so forth to the church, but yet still they want to ignore what is written in, was it Second Timothy, where it talks about if you ain't putting money, leaving an inheritance for your children, you're worse than an infidel. I would find it fascinating personally.
So what was the question in that? I'm sorry.
That was a long question. That was a long question, wasn't it?
I asked you if you found it interesting. That was the question, really.
Oh, okay.
You found it interesting. Here's 15 bullet points. Take your time. Take your time answering. I need that in a 5-page essay.
You know me, when I talk, I talk.
I gotta give it digestibles. Digestibles. I told you we on live here. Because Sister Chantel will think that this is Facebook Messenger, and she just leaves like 20-minute comment.
You know what they told me to tell you are.
But I would say, Sister Chantel, you and I, we see a lot of things alike, and you can, it's like Sister Chantel will be like, I was just talking to my mother about that, right? And so we see that, this judgment is on them and it's coming off of us. But at the same time, like if you study, like you were saying, the Old Testament, right? Israel was a warlike nation. Don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm. The only difference was that we went to our father first and asked permission before we attacked, right?
After what? After what? After
what's
what?
That?
After we had been attacked.
Well, not all the time.
Wait. But
because here's the thing.
There's context to that, because remember, don't. So the reality is this: what those nations were, they weren't actually, and I'm going to tell you, this is just my opinion. They weren't all the way human. Those weren't. We know that. And on top of that, that was our land that we literally had deeded to us. So we had to go through, and we had to get our land back because folks had basically impeded on the land, and that's not over in the dirt. That's southern, that's southern Greece, in my opinion. Again, but over on the continent, you understand, and even the topographical, the environment, all of that stuff, it fits that of what you would see in the sub-Saharan climate or zone.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, especially Christians, is that Israel was Yahuwah's means of judgment on many nations, right? Because they were wicked, they were sacrificing their children to Moloch, they were doing all the filth, right? And so the Most High would use Israel to judge them, right? And so, that's why, remember when we were coming through after leaving Egypt, everybody was scared, right? Why? Because the Most High was with us and we were a people of war.
Yes.
Right? And see that the Bible says that the Most High is the Lord of hosts, right? He's the Lord of an army.
Armies of Israel.
Israel. Thank you.
Yeah. Because go ahead.
Yeah. So what we're going to see is, once again, we are going to be his battle axe and weapons of war. And with us, he's going to destroy the nations. They don't teach you that in Christianity. Why? Because Christianity was still teaching slave doctrine, still to this day.
So Brother Jacob, you it's kind of funny because Literally, what you've been saying is now picked up on mainstream media, mainstream social media. What you've been saying,
You mean I'm a prophetic resource, brother Karras?
prophetic resource. When I heard them
100%.
folks talking,
100%.
don't
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
talking about, hey, listen, don't hang around us. We're gonna get you killed or
Yeah.
deleted. I said, is that Brother Yacoba right there? Do you have a brain chip? Did you give him a brain chip, Brother Yacoba? What did you do? I said, these are white folks talking. Oh snap! They said, look, just for your own personal safety, you can't be around us at this time. We've all drank that Jim Jones Kool-Aid.
There's one thing I wanted to add to what y'all was talking about earlier about Wells and Nolan Wells, is that our people need to wake up because they have been attacking us forever, right? Ever since we, even in slavery and so-called out of slavery, they've had plans and they meet on us to do these things to us, right? They have meetings and stuff, right? Don't act like this is a aberrant thing, right? That, certain people just crazy and they've been deleting us, right? And that's what we got to realize. We are at war and have been at war, which is why we have to understand who we are and whose we are, right? Because the Most High is going to get us out of here, guess what? With our own hands. That don't mean there's not going to be miracles, but guess what? Even like with Moses and them, they had to leave, right? They had to pack up, right? And guess what? When they went into the wilderness, they had to what? They had to fight. Don't get it twisted,
Because fighting is struggle.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me give Minister Rick and then Brother Asaph. I know you've been on. Go ahead, Minister Rick.
I think sometimes we got to be careful that we don't underestimate our ancestors. There was a whole change after 2019. Plenty of people struck back. It wasn't like, we're gonna take this. A whole lot of people struck back. The outcome is different.
That's true.
When we were under curse, the Bible says no one would be able to lift up his head. So we wouldn't just be fighting the person. We'd be fighting the word of God. All these things. We were fighting. We couldn't beat the curses. I was to say, we could have beaten these folks. Yeah, we could have beaten Nat Turner. He wasn't fighting back. We had they lived in constant fear of slave insurrection. We fought back.
Wars.
It was yes. It was, the outcome wasn't there. Under a curse, the outcome. You can't be hitting somebody else when then the Most High got one hand tied behind your back under a curse. But
I would say though, after the 1960s and when we became chic, though, they started using that strong psychological manipulation and media, TV, and everything.
Well, they had the boule doing cheerleading. Oh, you got to do that stuff like that. But on the soil, there was always some folks. I tell people the history of Chicago. This was the refuge for the Negroes that wasn't taking that. This town is crazy to that day because of that, because they would ship them out because they were people. We would fight. We would fight. We had no problem with fighting. But post 2019, you remember the Alabama beatdown and stuff like that? See, it's just like in Africa. Now that they see you can successfully fight, that it wasn't hopeless, that you're not under curse, and the curse is reversed on your enemies, and you are again the hammer of the Most High on them folks, then it's a free fall now. See, that's changed.
But Brother Karras is right about the FIFA, because they're coming for us after they finish this this game that they have, because that's why Trump started putting the state troopers under federal protection, right? They're federalized
with the flock cameras.
With the flock cameras, and they federalized, which means if you go against them, you're going against a federal officer. They're coming for us after the FIFA. That's why they're meeting with the Noahide laws in November. They coming. I've been telling y'all.
Well, Jacob, make no mistake about it. But it goes all the way to the top. I saw a time when Jesus, when Yahusha stood in that room and told them that I'm not coming back until you say, blessed he that comes in the name of the Most High. The plan was exterminate them. Okay, I got a shot. At that point, the cross, the victory, and everything, it was game over. But that was the bone. If I exterminate every one of these people, there will be no one left to call on the Most High. That's what they're afraid about, us calling on them. So that's been the MO from that time. Wipe them all out. So that's what it is. It's always been that. And like you said, proximity to those people is death. Don't come around it. Don't think motives like that. Don't swim in with the snakes like Muhammad Ali said. Of course, the only way they can win, the Asatan can win or have the illusion of win, is to exterminate each and every one of us. And you ought to know that we're in continual war and we got to act like it.
He can't do that though. He's not permitted to. As much as he wants to, if they were permitted to, if they could have, you think any one of us would be breathing? Africa would be empty. We would be gone from the earth, but they can't. They're not allowed to. Therein lies our punishment that had mercy attached to it. What's coming for them, there will be no mercy. It is straight judgment, wrath from the Most High. This is a build-up from, I would say personally, from the time of the Greeks. We're talking about 2,000 years. They're going to get double unto their double, double unto their double.
The Most High said, even under our destruction, I will not let them utterly. Yet I will not let them utterly destroy you. Yeah, he put a safety on us. Even under the 400 years, they couldn't take us all out. That didn't mean they weren't trying, but it couldn't happen. You're right, Sister Chantel.
Yeah, Jermaine Sloan says Mr. Microsoft has certainly tried, and yeah, they have tried. Remember, not even a month ago, Ebola, right? They were trying to do all that, and then Kenya actually rejected. They said, "No, we're not going to do that." We know that. So now everybody knows the game that's being played, and they're not doing themselves a favor, like what we're saying. They're not doing themselves a favor. The United States, this particular instance of Eurocentric or Eurocentrism, known as white supremacy, because again, even Spain, Italy, and to an extent, even France are beginning to understand and realize that their power has waned a lot. And that means that it's come down a lot. They're not increasing in power. They're actually decreasing, and the continent is now recognizing that we are indeed increasing.
The curse is on those who curse us. It's literally the Most High is fighting our battles in a way that he could not, by his word, do before. So we got our groove back. It's what it is. And what we have to do is make sure we're following the Most High, following Torah, so we'll be found worthy. There's the scripture says, many are called, but few are chosen. Because I've listened to you, Cole, but you're talking about, some us being deleted, stuff like that. We're called across the camps. Everybody's being called by this thing. All of our people being called, but everybody is not chosen. Like I love Cole keeps on putting the Messiah out there. Messiah's got to be God. Or you may be called, but you ain't chosen if he is not the Most High. Yahusha is not the Most High for you. So I like the way Yacoba keeps on talking about this. I think the people are going to be deleted. The ones that do this in this struggle are the ones that are not chosen. They've been called, but they didn't come all in to where they needed to be.
I still can't understand how they can't see that Yahusha is the Most High. It's like even just the understanding of how the Most High is. Like, do you remember I said to you, Yacoba, and I think I said the same thing to you as well, Karis. It's as simple, like even down to, we are our Father's children, even down to the simple way in which we talk when we say things like, yeah, me, myself, and I. What does that mean? And where did we get that from? It's literally an explanation of who the Most High is. You have this version of you, you have the thought version of you, and you've got the version of you that comes out of your mouth. Both when the Most High spoke and brought everything into creation, the thought was there. It was in his head. And then the thought manifested when he spoke. His breath and the word came out. His spirit and the word came out. And it's really not that complicated to, it's not that complicated.
Well, Sister Chantel, the teachers of the law, those who have the law, the curse of Jeconiah. People don't talk. If Yahusha is not God, then God is a liar. Because the curse was pronounced on Jeconiah. He was the leader that got them, allowed Israel to go to Babylon before. And the scripture says that no descendant of Jeconiah, which Joseph was, shall ever reign on the throne. In Genesis, he said, the seed of the woman shall do that. None of us men have untainted seed. We all, when Adam took the bite of that fruit, and our seed became after that, the first child born of that marriage was a murderer. We can't put somebody, we cannot bring an untainted sacrifice into the world. Not man, not of men, not of our seed. So they know that. These people are willingly ignorant. And he literally said there's a curse in Joseph's bloodline where he could not be the father. It's like was on the show. Joseph, you are not the father. So again, like Jacoba says, these people, they're willingly ignorant and they're going to be judged for that. He has to be God, or God is a liar. The seed line, and they put Mary's bloodline. Her bloodline was through there. Her bloodline, she had an untainted bloodline, as much as a man's bloodline could be untainted, and so the seed of the woman, a seed that made her. So it came through her, the seed of the woman. He came through her feminine bloodline with the seed of the Holy Spirit, and that's how you get a perfect Savior, a perfect Lamb.
I agree with what Jacoba was saying. I do feel like it's weird, not weird, but it's like I don't believe in coincidences. I agree with you, Jacoba, where everybody seems to be dropping Yahusha, and it's like we have to. It's like in order for this this one world thing to come into existence, he cannot be. You cannot believe in Yahusha because he is the savior. Everything goes through him, right? So in order for this system, I mean, even like, okay, so you look at the Christians have to get rid of that belief because they believe, some of them believe, well, Jesus is God, whatever, whether you say Jesus or Yeshua, they believe that, right? Most of them do. So you have to get rid of that within them. We know that those people who say they are but are not but do lie, we know how they feel about that. There's a book that shows exactly how they feel. And then we also see that the Muslims, they will say, well, we do believe in Jesus, but he wasn't divine like that. He didn't die on the cross. So you have to take away what he did when the scripture clearly says, right. The scriptures clearly says that he came, he lived, he died, and he rose again. But they have to eliminate that in order for this, and it's a very satanic system that they're bringing, because without Yeshua, that's the portion of the Most High that is tied to humanity. So
That's
you cut that. What's that story?
That's the Lamb, the perfect Savior. He thought it not robbery to be equal to God. He was the Lamb. We got no redemption. So you can believe about it, but you don't know him. You got no redemption.
You know that particular guy who threw out the whole New Testament and he's denying Yeshua? Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? If you notice what's happening here is that, well, he got a few people he leading to hell, right? But at the same time, and I pray for the dude, but hey, but if you notice, a lot of people don't realize that once you throw out the New Testament, you throw out Yahushua, guess what? You throw out eternal life, right? Because you don't get that message in the Old Testament. You get the message of eternal life, even though the symbolism is there in the Old Testament, right? The promise of it, right, is really emphasized at the death of the Messiah. That's how you get eternal life, right? And so, like, even like that guy from South Africa, John Troot, right, white boy with blonde hair, he's saying, well, the Bible don't teach sacrifices, and God never wanted us to sacrifice. And so he on this whole vegan trip, right? I'm like, this stuff is getting crazy, right? And I'm looking at this falling away, and people are going into religion and don't know the Most High.
Yep. That's the whole idea. The term, that's a Gentile term, the New Testament. It's a renewed testament, renewed covenant for us. It's the same covenant. It's renewed. It's new to the Gentiles. It ain't new.
I would say this. I would say this because it depends on your definition and how you want to interpret the Hebrew. Because renewed sort of implies that it's the same covenant and it just reactivated, right? But then if new means it's different from the previous one. But I get it, with the renewed, concept because in the Hebrew you could call it renewed, but it technically on our definition is not. But.
Yeah, well, I understand. Well, Yahushua was sacrificed under the same laws of the old covenant as the sacrifice. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't, he didn't throw it out. They want to say this new one, like if you threw out the old. He was sacrificed under them, saying, I believe, I say that I believe that the scapegoat of that covenant was Barabbas. That the way, so he was cracked. The high priest pronounced the thing. It was done the same way that you would sacrifice a lamb in the Old Testament. So he fulfilled the oath. Yeah, but I mean, I don't stand on semantics. It, New Testament, whatever, but you got to get in. He got to be God for you or you're out. He said, depart from me, you who do iniquity. You're going to get the same, depart from me, you who do iniquity. I never knew you. You got to know somebody again. If he don't know you, you ain't in. And you don't know him as God, you're done.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous them getting rid of the New Testament. Because it's like it's okay, so you imagine that it's no different from like how your whole body works together, and then all the nerves of your body end where? In your feet. I kind of feel like as if the New Testament kind of works like that. It's like everything from that you find in the scriptures is all in the New Testament. Sorry, everything, even down to the books that they wanted to call hidden, the Apocrypha. That's all in the New Testament as well. Especially there's portions of Second Ezra, which is in Revelation. You'll find in Revelation parts of Isaiah and Jeremiah. You will find in Revelation. You'd be hard pressed to not find anything that comes from the New Testament, not in the from the Old Testament, not in the New Testament.
Yep.
So when you remove the New Testament, I agree with you, Jacoby. You're removing the answer to salvation. You're removing what is to come. Like if you get rid of that, and of course they would want that to be gone with, because in this world that they're trying to create, they do not want us to have, just like they got rid of, or just like they came up with the slave Bible, they do not want anybody to have the hope. Do you know how what it's like to live without no hope?
Well, Sister Chantel, it's interesting. Oh, I'm sorry.
The long and short of it is returning to the covenant spells the end for them. Because Paul says in Romans chapter 10, that the Torah isn't too far from us that we can't reach it, which is the same thing that Moshe said. So they know exactly what they're doing, and the powers that be know the book more than how we know the book, and they've manipulated it in a way that once we don't understand what we're supposed to do and we get into the same rituals and practice that they do, the longer that they'll be in power.
Because it's standard. It's a standard.
It's a standard, yeah. But I'm going to come to Yacoba out of left field shortly to ask him, what does he think of all these wildfires that are happening in Europe? There's some in the UK as well, but they've kept them quiet. We had a big one that was moving to one of our large cities called Manchester. Unfortunately for the heathens, they put that one out, but they're forecasting further wildfires for the UK and huge ones as well. And a lot of the emergency services have been put on alert. And there goes.
This is my first time hearing about it.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Yep, we had big fires here. Yeah, we had a large one moving to Manchester, and we've got a forecast now saying that we're expecting big wildfires in England and Wales in the coming weeks.
Is that the Most High scorching the earth?
He's judging that.
Yeah. So, Jacobo, our prophetic resource, What is your opinion on all these things that are happening?
I
Just for the
believe the
people
Most
that are
High
listening
judging
in.
them. I believe the Most High judging them folks, right? From the being burned with the sun. Now you got the fire. It's affecting them. Even if you listen to them on social media, they're complaining about the jobs and the being able to survive. Y'all don't hear black folks complaining, do you?
Mm-mm. No, we've gone through. We've been in this. Look,
Yeah,
we already know what suffer. Look, when we suffer, it's like what I didn't feel that. Our backs are real thick. You know what I'm saying? We're all calloused up with them beatings. We're all calloused. We ain't got no more nerve endings to feel anything.
We have traumatic. It's called traumatic intelligence. From all we get, that's the clinical term for. We have traumatic intelligence. But knowing all this and seeing all these judgments, what do these people have to look forward to? And I want to circle back to something Yakoba said. Everlasting life. They're offering a counterfeit everlasting life. They're talking about living forever. They're talking about, the Bible speaks about them wanting to die, not even to die. What is everlasting life? Now we have this camp. The camps are literally that's rabbinic Judaism, is what they bring. The rabbis' words being over. That's the return of that over what the Most High said and over the Savior. So they're coming in the same way that some of them were our ancestors did some of that. But I'm saying the everlasting life, they got a form of everlasting life. They literally want to chip you up, do electronic counterfeit, and we have the true everlasting life. So we think about our flesh moving to the land, but our bodies, we still have to be in Him inside. If he ain't in you, you ain't in Him, and He ain't coming in you if He ain't God.
Think of this. Like I said in one of my shows, Yahushua is the dividing line, because guess what? The camps can go into the Noahide laws. The ones who deny the New Testament and Yahushua can go into the Noahide laws. All the people who deny the divinity of Yahushua can go into the Noahide laws. They're going to say, we're all the same. We believe the same. But see, us who believe that Yeshua is Yahuwah in human flesh, we're the ones they're going to be threatening to cut the heads off. It all makes sense.
That's the dividing line.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this, that counterfeit heaven, we think it's not here, it's here. I was kind of joking a little bit. I said, I wonder if McConnell was able to get to the brain chip. That's why he's back, and that will be the because it was, it came on out a few days ago that he was brain dead, though that was speculated. And now,
is he alive or dead? What is it?
I don't know. Supposedly there was like a proof of life of him being
maybe he's undead. Undead.
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, to be honest, because you don't know if it's even AI, because they're even saying that the picture that was taken, you had the little AI generated 6 fingers, unless the wife is a Nephilim, so it's.
But see, that's another judgment from the Most High. Those two who one of the biggest warmongers, they're not here no more.
Mm-hmm.
Life and death is in the.
Well, wait. You can't say that they're not here. One is definitely not here. The other one, we don't know. I think he's in digital purgatory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he probably backed up his brain.
They rebooted him.
He's in the cloud.
He's in a data center somewhere. Oh man, but
they could actually do that and nobody would know. They'd have his avatar that on TV and like he walking around doing stuff, and we would never know.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Look, you think that Mars expedition, they're gonna be like, yeah, you went to Mars. Yeah, I went to Mars. And then is in a simulation. Go ahead, Minister Rick.
There was a group a few years back, and they disappeared. Sometimes they give you, and they disappear. They were talking about becoming an artilect. They had a term, an artilect. They said if your child was in school and couldn't compete with all the other children, only who are enhanced, and would you have a chip implanted in your child that would make him compete, but when in essence would kill your child? He would no longer be that. They were saying that you wouldn't be human anymore. But would you do that to compete? So that's what they're talking about. You're not becoming You're not his creation. They're going to put something. They want to put something in you will make you not like Yahushua's creation. Therefore, ain't no way you can be saved. You'll be like the Nephilim. You weren't his creation. There's no place found in heaven or earth for you because you're not the creation. So this is what their end game is.
Isn't that what Elon Musk said?
That's what Elon
Musk said. Unless we connect with AI, we can't compete. Who cares about competing with AI? I'm not competing with AI.
Yep.
Nope, not me. Because you want to know why? They've already done lost anyway. Let me show you this, because this is something from Brother Asaph. He sent this to me. This was as of July 10th, just last week, and it shows here. This is the ICJ having a court decision regarding reparations. Now, this isn't in transatlantic slave trade. It's not in that terms. This is actually in terms of climate change, okay, with the different things of that nature. You know, why is that relevant? And that's relevant because what this is showing is that this is a case precedent that reparations can be adjudicated, right, in the court of law or international courts of justice. And it's happening now July 10th. Am I the only one putting these pieces together?
They mentioned that it could affect the reparations of us getting paid further down in that article as well.
Let me, because it was right here.
If my memory serves me correctly.
This is it. As for customary international law, it is well established that this customary rule must be based on consistent practice of states adopted on a footing that is legally binding. Manifestly, there is no consistent practice of states to accept the onerous obligations that the ICJ would impose on them. Now, he's trying to say this looks very much like politics dressed up as law. So there's nothing binding. What they're trying to say is there's nothing binding or enforceable. However, when it comes to transatlantic slave trade, again, what is a judgment on anything? What is a penalty? A penalty is a deprivation of resources, activities, or other values or goods that will impact or affect your everyday life.
Actual damages and punitive.
Yep. Punitive damages. Yes, things that can affect you. You're now looking at Ghana, because what Ghana is going to do, and we've been stating this through the African Union, this is going to go to the ICJ probably by the end of this year, if not sooner. And what that is that it wouldn't have happened years ago. It would not have happened. But because of what's been going on, because of the warrant for that, the prime minister of that Eastern Mediterranean nation, there is now more impetus. Basically, there's now more of a push to make sure that the ICC and the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, and an International Criminal Court, that they are relevant. And, in my opinion, with the ability to enforce those actions, those rulings, through what? Through the resources and cutting off those resources. i.e., if you don't come down, if you're not adhering, I wonder if that actually, I always kind of look at scriptures like, does that really mean to worship, or does that mean to adhere to? If you don't adhere to that, you don't get any grain. If you don't adhere to this, you don't get fed. If you don't adhere to it. Yep.
Economic strangulation.
Yes.
So it'd be a reversal of what America has been doing to everybody else, putting sanctions on.
Yes.
All these curses that were on us are going to be on them now.
Yes. You don't want to adhere to it. You don't want to make right. You don't want to, have goods and subsidies.
Well, you know something? That's basically what was done at Versailles, where the sanctions and the reparations, they just dumped on Germany, but it was the rest of the world doing that, and even the East, Japan was there, and then there was a representative, Ho Chi Minh was there trying to get the colonizers out of his country at Versailles. So that's a world court placing judgment on a nation that was actually made to pay.
Now I want to bring this on up because I'm going to tie this in because I want to see if anybody if what I'm saying is something. Think about this. If you are a nation that's getting ready to go out and you're trying your best to fight with all your heart and soul to stay relevant, to stay alive, you know that you need the resources from a continent. You know that continent is Africa. But you know that as soon as you step foot on that continent, as soon as you are able to get a hold there with military forces, you will be met with other military forces. Do you think that you would go after the oil and the gas supply, the diesel and things of that nature, to then cut off their ability to have an army or a military force to, to interdict the scheme, the final plot? I'm just throwing that on out there. What do you all think? Is that too deep?
It makes sense. It makes sense because if you cut off the oils, they're going to need oil to come at you. Mm-hmm. And you got a little bit of supply over here. You're not totally bereft of it, but there's some nations that absolutely have to get no domestic source of oil. And there on the other side, you isolate yourself in your atmosphere and cut off everybody else's supply. Yeah, it could be a strategy. If you can find a strategy in this madness, that could be their thought process.
Do you know what else?
Oil has to be mixed with light crude, or it's unusable. It's like the Canadian tar sands oil. So it's not a straightforward process just like that. Or you could cut it with another component like alcohol, but it would mean widespread engine modifications countrywide.
I don't think that they would do that. I think, to be honest, because to me it's twofold. You're already going into a state of despotism. So what do you then have happen? Well, you're not going to have people on the road, and I always liken it to that Civil War movie because that was actually a pretty good movie, right? You're going to look whatever you have left of your resources. You're going to move to a place that has resources. That's how that goes. Bottom line, right? You'll be rationed off. They're already talking about that. They have some sort of an application for a government rationing app for oil. That's for real. They already released that, huh?
Do you know what else it does as well? It cripples your military, not just abroad, but it forces you to fall back, and it also cripples your defense because you don't have what you need to defend yourself as well. Like, how can you don't have the oil? How can you defend yourself? How can you fuel your machines of war?
That's why I said, look, when the tariff strategy was always a declaration of war. for those that could see that was a declaration of war, not many people would have that insight, because they'll be like, oh, we'll do trade and everything else. We know what warfare looks like. We have actually been in this particular environment that we see. The most dangerous thing for the United States right now is for a Negro to be able to understand their environment and their surroundings, because they know what the game looks like. They know what this okie doke looks like. As soon as we saw this, we were able to understand it. We were able to digest it. We were able to regurgitate and provide analysis and assessment. And we've been able to see this. Yeah, they declared war on the nations. People are thinking that, oh, well, it has to be some sort of, missiles and things have to blow up. No, not really. But what they did do is they knocked out a large source of the oil production and supplies coming from out of the Middle East. To do what? To make sure that these nations were basically paralyzed for, all intents and purposes.
Well, we definitely know what it is for a nation to marginalize a people within a control grid. We know what that is, to have a system set up to cripple the people and dominate them. The same thing that's coming to the other folks, those that led into slavery. But we know what the net looks like, that, and we can see somebody lowering the net. That we're familiar with and can prepare for. The other folks don't even see it coming.
Yeah, it's and again, I think we're able to say this is because we are able to be more objective when we're actually looking at a lot of these things happening around the world. Yeah, do we have a lot of bias? Of course we do. Because we tend to understand what scriptures are saying, but we're actually understanding, right, the mechanisms that they're utilizing. Because it would seem, oh, well, that's just the thing. People would say that, but we could say no, because it's going to lead to this and lead to this. And that's what you're seeing with the Ghana Declaration, in my opinion, the Ghana Declaration that happened in March.
We can connect the dots.
Mm-hmm. And as Jacoba was saying earlier, a lot of our people, we're waking up. It's like what we didn't. It's not just a physical chain. That was a spiritual and mental chain that we were locked into. All of us, all of the diaspora, whether you're on the continent, whether you're here in the West, in the United States, it doesn't matter, because now all of a sudden can an army rise up? Can a nation rise up? Is there breath?
Will these dry bones live?
Mm-hmm.
It's those bones are forming up. The bodies, they're forming up. Flesh and all going through that process. The two sticks are starting to bloom. They're starting to come together as prophesied.
Even if you look at Ibrahim and the Sahel Alliance, they're moving more in concert, and they're building up their military. They're training their children to have patriotism, to learn their history, right? You never had that on the continent before. I'm just looking forward to some of these other coonish nations to start, doing the same thing.
Ibrahim Charlie, he moved against religious sectarianism, and we have it on both sides. And he came it's on the side of Islam and Christianity, and he's squashing that. So he's put our Hebrew identity. He may not say it, but he's really having us stand up as a people with a relationship to the Most High under our Hebrew identity, rather than these religious forms that took over on either side of us to put us in these chains.
Yeah, he's going back to the African traditions, which is Israelite traditions, a lot of it, not all of it. But if you look at even with the medical situation, he's pushing more the herbs and the natural
Mm-hmm. Yep.
medicines for fighting disease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why not?
Go ahead.
Everything that we need is in the country or the continent. Sorry, everything they've got everything they need. They don't
Mm-hmm.
need anything from the West. So it's like I think that there's probably things in Africa that are lost to us that could probably heal everything we have. Everything.
Well, what does it say in Joel chapter 3, right? Verses 20 and 21. Look, look, he's going to heal our blood is going to be healed, right? We've been tainted with all these
Yeah, oh yeah.
pharmakias and everything else, these sorceries, you
Yep.
know, and again, just being on out there in Burkina Faso and seeing things firsthand, there is a patriotism that is fantastic. I was interacting with them last week. Actually, it was a couple weeks ago, and it was so I was trying to get something done, and they're like, "Oh no, this person's out of the office," and they were doing their training. I showed that video on Q2A channel where they were there, actually doing like drills and things of that nature for all their civilians.
Well, see, that's what we have to do, right? We have to be we can't be afraid of death, right? Because you're dealing with a group of people that's not afraid to take you out.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to resist, right? And the devil is trying to take over the world. And be honest with you, if you read the scriptures, the only opposition to the global new world order is us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's
So
what they're scared of because they know that.
the scripture literally says, endure hardness as a good soldier. A soldier entangles himself not with the things of his life that he may serve the ones who sent him. We have to have that military mindset, and death is not a problem. I keep on telling you, you can't be scared of dying. You shouldn't be. If you're in Yeshua, if he is God to you, then death is not your problem. And as long as the
Exactly.
Most High needs you here to work, you're gonna be here to work. So you are not only called, you are chosen. So that's the thing. That it's that fear of death. That's they're a death cult. That's what they think. The fear of death. I'm gonna kill you. I will kill you. Kill you. That don't mean when that doesn't have any meaning for you. Those Iranians look at that and just laugh. Yeah, right. So what? Bring it.
And just think
And that's
about
what
it,
we gotta
right?
have.
Like with Gideon, right? He only had a handful of men, but he was able to, defeat all of these people. And it's the same thing with us, right? We're fighting a giant. We're fighting, the dragon, but we're going to win. But you can't be afraid of death. And that's the thing too. Yahusha takes away the fear of death. You don't believe
Yep.
in Yahusha, guess what? You're going to fear death. And you're
Yep.
going to go along with the beast system.
Yep. Because just like they did with the lollipop. And it's interesting. You talked about Gideon. Gideon was hiding on the threshing room floor, fearing them folks because they stole everything, just like us in the diaspora. Every time you get something, they would come in and steal it. Everything we got, they steal everything, and we can't own anything here. And when he took the 300, it was three. He got down to 300. That was the real 300. They talk about the Greek 300. It was 300 of them, and it was time they were ready to fight. Most High said, "Hey, just watch, crack these pots." Told to do something totally and he fought. They didn't ultimately wind up fighting. Okay, now stand and see. You were obedient. Now stand and see what the Most High is going to do. And the Most High wiped them out while they were playing, cracking pots and playing music. So it's just a thing. At the end of the day, we got to be obedient to the point, and he's going to get the victory for us.
He already to me he already is, because again, as Jacoba had stated earlier, I've never seen so many of our people begin to come on one accord.
Yeah.
We're a lot of our people aren't out here professing and confessing Yahushua HaMashiach. But that doesn't mean that the Most High is turning their hearts in the right direction. It's a process. It's a process for everybody.
Well, this is the time of the Ruach HaKodesh is just going out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pouring out over our fest, and the glory of the Most High is rising within us.
Absolutely.
And I'm so encouraged by Burkina Faso for this. You look at all these problems. We stand over here in this land of our captivity, and we lament over our young people and things like that. And they've got all these sponsors. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. The things he just grabs a bunch of young people. Okay, get some shelter. We're going to go on this. See, in a true, when you're not in a generation, when you're not in a prison,
mm-hmm.
when you're not in a POW camp, you could just take all the young people. Okay, are you going to be tractor drivers today? Or are you going to build a highway today? Or are you going to do this? Or he took some protesters that were in that sectarian environment. Oh, you want to know what it is? Put some uniforms and send them to the front. You can't do that sort of thing over in the land of our country. You can call you FBA or whatever. You cannot do this. The stuff we need to heal our people cannot be done in the land of our captivity.
No, it is Stockholm syndrome that our people are suffering, because again, and it's not to denigrate our people. It's the reality. You're still in captivity. So you're not going to be saying, and actually having healing. You can't heal when you're still in a place where you're being abused. I've never seen that.
Exactly.
You can't have that. Right. You
got hit by some acid and you don't get away from the acid keep burning you, you're never going to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You got to escape from the kidnappers to get to exercise some freedom.
Yeah. I mean, for real, they're kidnappers, and for real, they're afraid because on the national, it's not just the national stage. Oh, we need to get reparations and stuff. No. You can't ask somebody who is actually the warden. You can't ask the warden for reparations. The warden's gonna be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You actually have to go to the source, because even though you're in the prison, that was declared by Rome.
Exactly. And in order for that to happen, I was going to say, in order for that to happen, you have to identify that you were brought over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the word be like, oh, you want commissary? you want more of that?
Yeah, you're just gonna get more commissary. That's Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. All right.
Gee, we can get everything from the prison store,
And then as soon as you think you're gonna be cashing that check, then they're gonna take you on out because you're still in the prison.
Exactly. I don't understand how you feel you can get some like these people. Your very history shows that whenever you start doing right by yourself, they're always there to tear it down. So you think, let's just say tomorrow they give you reparations. You're gonna have to let's say everybody gets like, I don't know, let's say about $1 million or 2 million, whatever each year. You're going to literally be living in breathing the same air as the people who were sitting pretty a little while ago, who are now, as was it you, Jacoba, that said that they're the ones that are complaining? Like they're complaining that I've got no job, I've got no money, I've got all these, I'm in a job and I'm getting paid this amount of money, but why am I still broke? You're going to want to stay there?
Those people
knowing how these people
violent. Those people become violent at the suggestion that you're going to get something more than them. Mm-hmm. They do that. And if you look at our history, what they did, they Gazaed everything we built up.
Yeah, they did.
That's why it's not a problem. We got something going up, they Gazaed it, bulldozed it, flooded it, took it over, whatever thing like that. This is a new thing. What the world is seeing, what they've been doing to us. You build something over here, they get you you want we got your reparations. You getting on this land over here, they will Gaza you here. That you have to be under another structure. Like again, the Sahel states, They got their military. That's what you have to have. You got to have your own military, your own stuff, your own people on patriotism, and have your guns at the ready. If they have anything, not just in this diaspora, in this world, and you not getting that here.
You know, they got purses with holes in it. The same thing that happened to us is now happening to them. They're being treated like us. They're being deleted like us. Even their own people, the popos, you know, they'll shoot them now, right? I'm like, okay, well, y'all don't recognize the scriptures happening in your life. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing that they did to react violence to the ninja lovers. You know, take us out, to take them, just proximity to us with the perception that you're helping us. You're not with the team. Then you go down.
It starts with them first. Don't get it twisted. It starts with them. It's not going to end with them. Because all of these people who claim MAGA, right, they're all going to feel it. Because it's going to literally be the mega rich, mega wealthy versus everyone else. There's not even going to be, I don't even think there's going to be any celebrities like that. These people, it's like whatever wealth you think you've got is nothing compared to what these others have. And they don't want to share. That's not their way. They don't share. They've allowed you to do what they need you to do for the time that they need you to do it in. But once they've gotten rid of us or done whatever they need to do, you and then they start going for the ones that are okay. You know what? This is wrong. You can't be doing this to black people and blah blah blah. Once they've done that to them, they're coming for the others.
There's no need for an overseer class if there's no one to oversee.
Exactly.
So you get rid of them too.
You become the new slave.
Slaves. Yep, you become enslaved. If your prison population leaves, then those that were brought here,
you put the guards in chains.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was that's the ratio.
The beast has got the beast.
Mm-hmm. And now
you mean once again, Karis, you mean the prophecies are coming to pass?
Ain't no 2019. Ain't no 400 years.
Ain't no 400 years. And now we're here, but now we're seeing this again. The ritual of the World Cup. I think to me this is just a big ritual scheme to get the think about this. You got billions of people watching the World Cup. The most watched event in the world. That's more than Super Bowl. Super Bowl doesn't hold a candle to this. And you see what I'm saying? And and now you're going to have the championship in less than a week, the final.
The World Cup. Boy. The World Cup was to be what the 1936 Olympics was for that person over there. It was a showcase for American whitey supremacy. They had on display all the things. Oh, look at the food. Look at all the plenty we have. Look at everything showing. It was to show the world for yourself, for your last hurrah before the final conflict, final conflict. But that was the thing. It was a PR campaign for this country to say, hey, Babylon has still got it. You still can be with us. And it absolutely didn't work. And I hope of the teams out there, I hope Spain wins it because they stood up. I don't really follow it. That would have to be on you, Karis, but I hope Spain wins it.
I said that to my son. I said that to my son. I said I do want to have Spain win because they actually did stand up. But I believe that Spain is a lynch point because to me, historically, Spain holds they hold all the secrets. Spain
Y'all remember the Economist image for 2026?
Oh man, yeah.
And that's telling you everything that's gonna happen because y'all saw all of the the AI videos of the aliens with the white hair and the red outfits. Have y'all seen those?
No.
Oh, y'all haven't seen those?
With
the aliens with the white hair and the red outfits and walking with
it's supposed to be the Nordics, you mean that thing?
Yeah, the whole thing about the Nordic guys. But anyway, these two images are the same thing. It's on the Economist image, right? So if you look at that image, you're gonna figure out what's happening for the rest of 2026. They got FIFA in there. They got all that kind of stuff, right? The 250th anniversary of the U.S. They got all kind of stuff in that image. Y'all need to check it out. I thought everybody saw that thing. It was making the rounds of social media.
Let me see this. I want to share this. Let me share this. I think this is it. Let me. Oh, give me a second, cause.
No, I haven't seen that.
Here it is. Here it is.
Look like characters from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it does look like Game of Thrones.
Say, Karis, can you find the Economist 2026 image?
Yeah.
And pull that up. You'll see them in it.
All right. I'm gonna do that. I want to do that. Oh my goodness.
They're so predictable, though, aren't they?
I know, isn't it?
Well, those people are going to help them get to Valhalla with Hexeth.
That's the cover, right? Yeah, he did say that. He did say that.
He did.
See you in Valhalla, brother. What was that, Cash Patel? See you in Valhalla. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is not letting me get on the actual image.
I wonder why. You basically linked that.
Yeah, it's not letting me blow up the image.
They got a staff assigned to you, Karis.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll be showing stuff. Look, you already know. You already know.
Do you know what they look like, Harris? They look like you seen Stargate Atlantis?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They look like the humanized race when they gave that virus to them and they started to turn them into humans. Or that's what they look like.
All right, Brother Yakoba.
If you could zoom in closer to where Trump is, they're right there. Look at that. See that?
Right here?
Right here. Right on the right. Keep go right to your right.
Oh, I see it. Where the tank is.
Right there. Yeah, where the tank is. That's it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you see him.
Yeah, I can't scroll in. I can't highlight or go in anymore.
Yeah, I can bring it up on the. Yeah, I see it. I see him.
Yeah, they got the robot tanks, the robot dogs. Yeah, it's all. That to me is that how they're going to launch a ground invasion?
Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they got the jabby jab, all of that.
Do you know your robot dogs freaked out a lot of Europeans when they went over there?
Look at the Persian. Do you see the Persian boat right here? That's a Persian boat on the water. And he has the mines. That's a mine that he's holding.
Wow.
My goodness.
But this shows you how much they manipulate in the world, and they'll tell you what they're doing, and the world still sleep.
Yeah, because we're the crazy ones. But see that? See the brain? See the brain? The controller? Yeah. But we're the crazy ones. And they're showing you.
And you know what that means? You know what that probably means? It probably means they're going to be promoting Neuralink, right? So they can control your mind.
Well, it's amazing,
After the 250th year anniversary of America. I'm just saying there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. You got look at the ship right there with Iran, right? The old ship showing the war with Iran, and there's a lot of stuff.
Is that SpaceX? What's it called? A rocket?
Yes, it is. It's SpaceX.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me with this whole Iran thing that these fools actually decided they were going to go out after and outsmart the wise men.
But that other rocket was what you call it, the male thing. I'm not gonna say the wrong word. You know, the one that they had with what's his name? I think it was the Amazon guy, right? Had it shaped like a,
Phallic.
A male form.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phallic. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
You know, AI has gotten really good. I'm sorry. This is kind
of hold on, Karis. That's you cover. Have the panel, the chat? Have we not seen that very same rocket in what is it? Oh gosh, what's his name? What's his name? Yeah, baby. What is that film?
Austin Powers.
Isn't that in there? Isn't that what we saw in there as well?
I haven't seen that in a minute.
This program is sponsored by the Image of the Beast, brought to you by AI.
Oh, behave.
The way that was that was perfectly timed.
Now, what is that? Like an underground cave or something that they have a meeting at? You see, like the lighting, like it's a mine or something.
Oh gosh, man!
The thing is,
they dig under the rocks.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know if this is real or not with AI. And who they remind me of is the guy in Hellboy. Remember the Hellboy?
Yeah. The twin.
Yeah.
Because you had the sister and the brother.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, you're gonna have to. I'm about to watch Hellboy just to get some insight. How many of these giants are actually here? You know what I'm saying? That's what I really want to find on out. What do they have the collection of the consortium of giants? And think about this. Remember, like all the Grimm brothers. Remember that movie back in the day? You know, they were contracted by Rome, right, to deal with all their extraterrestrial, like not extra, but like all their weird stuff. You know, like, hey, the church needs to clean this on up. And I kind of laughed. Now it's not funny anymore because it's like
Van Helsing as well.
Yeah, Van Helsing. Yeah. Hey, the church contracted me to clean this on up. Is that what it is? Because that was our jobs and we couldn't do our jobs anymore, so they had to do something, and now they're failing at it. And
when you,
I'm gonna tell you,
I was just gonna say when you Grimm. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say I think Grimm has a lot of truth in it, a lot of these little mysteries and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. You got to go to the movies. You got to go to the cinema or the comedians to get any truth nowadays.
Yeah,
get in the church, man. I'm telling you that from now. They hide all of this. If you like, at the end of what's it, Hellboy, the second Hellboy movie, the same one we were talking about. Did you see that entity with all these eyes all over his body? And I just thought to myself, what if that's an image of a fallen angel that we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean it's that Ezekiel, seraphim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things. I was literally having a conversation with my son 2 days ago, and I said to him, "It's so funny how I've always said these people are not. They're not. They're not creative. They're not. All they do is they write what they see. They tell what they see. So why is it that we see the same looking aliens that look exactly like the Demogorgon from out of what's it called? Stranger Things. You notice that a lot of, and I've seen it in certain other movies and other forms of media, where you see this entity.
Is it just me, or is that woman Trump's type?
Oh my goodness.
So here's the thing. The whole world is run by the occult, right? We know that with Hitler. And the same thing like the Golden Circle. Y'all heard about that during the Civil War.
Yeah, Knights of the Golden
Circle. South. Yeah, the Knights of the Golden Circle.
They brought the Klan up and they started, yeah.
And that's why they've been deleting us, because they're all part of the Knights of the Golden Circle, which is what KKK, Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, which all ties back to Rome. They're all occultists. right? They all devil
Wore the
worshippers.
same costume, same hooded thing that they wore in Rome.
Yep.
Same.
Did you happen to read the oath that I sent you? The copy of the oath.
Who, me?
Yeah, the Jesuit oath.
Oh yeah, I did read it. Yeah. Yep.
It's all in there. Nothing. Everything that they're doing is literally in that oath.
Yeah. Yep. Look, it's still the black nobility in the Vatican running stuff.
And those families that formed the popes, those dynasty families, and Georgia Guidestones. I mean, they just blew them up because they're just too obvious.
Wait. What did they say? What did they say last year that they found like chambers and things underneath of the Great Pyramids in Giza?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we already know about the underground cities that's in Turkey and stuff. There's a bunch of underground cities, and let's not talk about Antarctica. Nobody can go there, right?
They said there's something.
Well, nobody in air quotes can go there.
Yeah.
I'm saying, look, now that things are getting to where I would say towards the very top or the end, right? They're now having to introduce Nephilim.
Yep.
You all know that when they introduce Nephilim, that's over. You might as well just put look, Jacoba, you might as well sell some prophetic stopwatches or countdown clocks because you know it's already over from there. Probably make a lot of money.
I was gonna resell the anti-captivity spray.
Yeah, for real.
You got to rebrand it.
I don't know if that anti-captivity spray is going to save them from that one. You see how big they are?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be hit with false advertising on that one. No.
Well, we were fighting giants in the land before. We did it before. We could do it again.
Yeah, we were. They weren't. They were getting hit by giants. Look, you better stop. Look, you seen Epstein's refrigerator? I mean, allegedly. No, just.
But that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing that we were the only ones really fighting against the fallen or the Nephilim, right? The other nations were in line with them, just like today. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because
why? Look at that. Look how big they are.
The Native Americans legends have that they were fighting some folks over here after they had been driven to the edges of the earth. Over here, they sealed them up in caves and smoked them out. So there were some over here in their legends that they were fighting, and you found these giants in caves over here. So I don't know.
What about what they found in Afghanistan as well?
Yeah, just
anybody know about that?
Alone. They want to be exploring caves, man. Leave them caves alone. You go on down there, you never come back.
They it's home for them, innit? The sun is burning them, so they need a place. So it's like they're remembering, and it's like they always. I mean, look at that. What was that film? Descent. They always got to be. Why are these people always got to be sparking up themselves going into a cave? I don't understand.
They love that. They love it. I don't know.
Well, didn't they come out of the cave, so they're going back in? I don't know.
They're trying to get back in. I don't know, because I've also seen other videos of these cave divers or whatever they're called, and they're getting trapped in there. Like they literally they're going. You can't map this. They haven't mapped it. They're just going and feeling. And so this man was lodged between two like a crevice, and he died. He just died.
Well, he got Neanderthal roots, maybe.
Well,
let's think about this for a second. When they were first becoming white, right? Because everybody was black at one time. The logical conclusion would be that they would run to the caves because the sun would burn them, just like it is today. So they had to take refuge in the caves, right? Until they were able to advance and be able to sort of avoid it.
Maybe they mutated in those caves to the skin, losing that, lost the ability to melt it. So I don't know.
Got him. That's all I heard. when you said mutated in the cave, I just saw that scene where Gollum, when
Precious,
Smeagol turns into
precious,
Gollum.
precious, my precious.
Once again, I think they're
What are
telling
they
more truth
doing?
than lies.
Dived in
That
the water
gold.
for that gold. Gold dived in that water for the gold.
With his 3 strands of hair on his great
Dive for
head.
that money.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He was wanting that.
The
He
love of
was.
gold.
Mm-hmm.
And remember,
Man.
Ben Franklin was trying to import a bunch of white folks here because they tried to get rid of the color here, right? So, and according to him, it was only the Anglo Saxons who were, not melanated, and so, I'm telling you, there's a cult thing. Like, for instance, I saw this video recently, and I don't know if this was a new one or old one, but they had another look like a CERN celebration, which was, very occultic and wicked looking. Right? I don't know if y'all saw that one.
with
Yeah.
one of those Indian guys. I forgot. It was like I forgot.
But it was only them. I didn't see no melanated folks in there. It was just Europeans. And they were doing all that satanic stuff.
Yeah. Well, Ben Franklin was talking about Black Europe too.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess when the Schwarzeneggers were actually Schwarzenegger, he got the name, but he lost. I'd like to see.
Yeah, he lost the color.
Yeah.
Your name says you a black ninja, and so it was something to that.
So all the Schwarzenegger family were black. I guess maybe they were Edomites, huh? Schwartz mean black, nigger means,
That's what I'm saying. Hey, some of them. If you go back to the beginning of it, we got a jacked up family. We got an evil twin and a dirty uncle.
It's very Star Trek, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty messed. Yeah, it is. It's real messed up.
And he's hairy as well, so the moustache in it. They always put the evil twin with a moustache, so he's got a little bit extra hair.
Esau and Ishmael.
Do y'all know a guy who was in our Facebook group had the nerve to say, "Why y'all talking against Esau? Esau was our elder, and y'all should not be talking against Esau." Can you believe that?
Familiar. That sounds familiar. I can't remember, but
Esau was an assassin. He sold off his eldership. Mm-hmm. He sold it off, and it wasn't for no doggone soup. That he was the Babylonian Secret Service was chasing after him for taking out Nimrod. So I get so tired of we tell that old trope in the church, talking about he sold it for some porridge. He was trying to get anything to eat because they were after him. He would run. He was a killer from day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ran back home. And
he brought the nonsense home. Mm-hmm. That's what he did. He went to try and hide behind his dad.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about that. If you are being pursued, you're gonna hightail it. He did that. He got out of there, got out of town, and got the heat off of him. Because when Babylon was, it was still falling, and at that time, it was a system that was falling. Because I don't think a lot of people understood, that the Sumerians were before the Egyptians.
Mm.
Yep.
So, so a lot of the stuff that they have, those practices, the Egyptians, I'm going to tell you this, every empire starts off righteous, right? Has that semblance of righteousness until
it's not.
They have that flip. Until they have that flip with usually us.
We're like their judging. We're like their judgment. Like, how righteous do you think you are? I'm gonna put my people there and just judge you by it. That's literally what it is in Matthew, anyway.
Yeah. What Assyria did to the northern kingdom, they got judged for.
Yeah, because
the northern kingdom went off.
Yeah, because when they always would say, like, well, why can't you all just, do what we do, and why can't you all that when what that would always do? That would always have us like self-reflect and internalize, like, well, what am I doing wrong? What is it that they can't get along? Look, That's the whole argument that you hear from the racists. Well, it's just that I just can't stand them for what? It's not that they can't stand us arbitrarily. I just can't stand, black folks. What they can't articulate is that
We're
they
set
can't
apart people.
exactly. They can't stand the righteousness that we have from the Most High, and they want to be in the presence of wickedness because that's what they gravitate to is wickedness. In the group of them, they always try to say, oh, if black folks gather, usually when black folks gather, nothing goes on. We'll have a good time. We'll enjoy ourselves. When they gather, it's usually ends up in some sort of a altercation, fight, or things of that nature because they can't do anything. Oh, let's get some beers. Let's do. It goes from. It starts to.
Nature comes out from inside of them.
It starts to slide down into levels that we see. Yeah, that's not for us. That's not something that we want to engage in. Well, come on, you. They get mad.
You ever notice how they always, anytime we're with any of these nations, whether it's Egyptian, whatever, any nation that we're under, the first thing they do, what Nebuchadnezzar did, is try to put us try to put something in us that we know we're not supposed to have in us, like the pork. It's always got to be the pork. They've always got to try and shove that thing down our throat. I remember what's his face, Truth Unveiled, I think. Yeah, not Unlimited but Unveiled. He did a breakdown of what they have in these drugs, that they, these pharmaceuticals. Do you know that a lot of it contains pork? A lot of our medicine contains pork. And I ask, why do you need to put that in there?
You got a holy people, you have to defile them. It was the Balaam plan. You got to defile them in their sex practices and everything like that. And I look at you look at the births of our Savior. They had a system. Okay, that's the European this custom they have getting engaged. That has nothing to do with betrothal in the Torah. If you look at, if we had betrothals and we were operating in Torah with our young people with betrothal, lock down your wife. You haven't got her yet. You haven't gone to pick up your wife. Gave you a chance to earn some money and stuff like that. Then go with the procession to get your wife. She's holding down in her father's house. He's keeping her virtue and everything like that. You go get her. You got the bag. You got a place to take her and do that. And it allowed you to start a family rather than this haphazard European. I'm engaged with you today. I cut it off mess that we have now. This messes us up. We're not living according to Torah. When we take our morality back to Torah, then we could heal us, but as much as could be healed in the land of our captivity.
Yeah. See, Michelle says they try to always get folks high and sexually charged in order to compromise sensibilities. Absolutely. Because again, that has always been the plan to, as Minister Rick would say, it's a defilement, right? Oh, this is something about them. I'm not saying anything that we all haven't experienced at least once, twice, or dozens of times. It's just it's something about you all. Because why? Look, light cannot really exist with darkness. You can't. So they get mad because again, they can't really understand it, and I don't even care. What they try to say, and I've had this most of the encounters I've had in Eurocentric Christianity. But you're saved, and you're talking like this. Are you actually saved? Well, I believe in Jesus. I love Jesus.
They got a get out of hell free card according to them, that you can just do whatever. There's no sign of it of your there's no conversion. It's just a license
And you
to
know
eat
what's
them.
interesting? How during slavery they gave us all of the pieces of the pig. Why didn't they give us all of the trash pieces of the beef of the cow? Right? But they gave us the pig. Why? Because they knew who we were.
Exactly. It's the same thing with everything that they do. That's why I keep saying you don't need a thing to tell you that they know who you are. You just need to
Yeah.
watch the way they treat you. The fact that they forced you to work only on to rest only on Sunday, but they made you work on Saturday. The things that they made you do with your father, with your brother, with your son, that all of these things they literally they are the man of sin. Everything that's in the scriptures that tells us not to do, not to do, they made sure that they made us do it. That's why I said they turned up. It was that we are Frankenstein's monster.
You know,
I think that
go ahead.
I think that the Islanders got the oxtail. The ones here in the States got the pig.
Yeah, we got chitlins. We got
We had chitlins, pig ears, pig nose, pig feet, all. And guess what?
Yep.
My daddy was from Mississippi, so you know when I was young and in Christianity, we had chitlins, we had pig ears, pig tongue, all that stuff. I ain't know nothing.
Oh, what was it? From the rooter to the tutor.
Yeah, from the rooter to the tutor.
But if you look at their religion, though, you talk Christianity, they're still preaching indulgences, but they make Yahusha, Jesus is their indulgence. Well, I got Jesus and I can go on sin and do whatever. That's an indulgence. That's not a transformation. That's not a conversion. That's a license to sin. Well, I'm under the blood. Well, he knows my heart. Well, I'm saved. You know, with no change of behavior, and you're going to be faced with the Savior and said, "Depart from me, ye who do iniquity. I never knew you." And in so much as you've done it to the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me. So you mess with my family, you didn't mess with me. Get out.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I just saw something flash on my television. The comments up there. What is hoghead cheese? I'm not being funny. I don't know what that is.
You don't know what hoghead cheese is?
They're putting everything like hog maws. Oh my
God. Pig brains.
Man.
Yep, you grind it all up and put it together and say, eat it.
Pig brain.
Man.
That's what that is?
No, it's a gelatin.
When C. Michelle said, had me laid out, she said, had to put hot sauce on it to make it make sense. You sure
For
did?
real.
Yeah, you
she
did.
talking about the chitlins.
Hot sauce on the chitlins. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Had to clean them fellas.
Oh, I'm dying. Oh.
See, I haven't eaten, like, I grew up, we stopped eating meat. Well, I still eat it now, but when I was younger, because I grew up as a vegetarian or Seventh-day Adventist or whatever, so I stopped eating pork long ago. So I was a kid. I don't know any of that. So seeing all the list of things that they made you eat, I know that they forced our people to eat pork as well in the Caribbean. But yeah, we had access to, the oxtail and whatnot as well. But I didn't grow up eating all of that. So I'm just seeing the list of these things, and I'm dying inside because I'm like, because as a Christian, growing up as a Christian, I knew that this was wrong, that you're not supposed to eat it. So it infuriates me even more knowing that we are his people and knowing what they did to us, that they did it yourself. Yeah.
The American expression, high on the hog. We got all the lower parts of the hog. So they wasn't giving us even the good parts of the hog. So when people talk about we living high on the hog, you getting the parts of the hog that the white folks was eating. You getting the entrails and everything like that, the pigtails and stuff like that. And they're getting the other parts. So you wouldn't even get the better parts, quote unquote, of the hog.
Because funny now, I see them, they're crying out. They don't want this segregation because the most of the things that they keep talking about is we want their food. So it's like they're going to be coming. Their ancestors literally punished or did the most detestable thing to your ancestors, right? Only for them to now their descendants want to eat the
Well,
food they gave them.
we made the trash that they gave us taste good.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
exactly.
meat they gave us, we even made that make it. What
Yeah.
did we do with real good meat? And we made the
Yeah.
trash that they gave us taste good.
You know what's sad that you look back on what they've done to us, and you look at what became part of our culture. Growing up, your daddy eating hog head cheese, giving you some hog head cheese. Like, I don't know what this is. This is gelatin. It ain't cheese. But you eat it anyway. It's sort of sad. I mean, it's not sort of sad. It is sad what they've done to us, and then they wonder why we upset and why we always complaining, because y'all keep doing this stupid stuff, and we sick of it.
Yeah, that contributes to all sorts of comorbidities. That's why there's health problems, obesity, you name it. And what are you doing? You're changing the actual physiology of a people when you are actually, you are what you eat. We're not supposed to look like this. We're not supposed to, move around like this.
The Torah says, "Do not eat the garbage disposals." The animals, he said, are unclean. That's what they do in his environment to make the world sustainable. The things that crawl on the bottom of the oceans, get rid of all the dust stuff and clean the oceans. And the pigs up here will clean all the stuff out of here. You better not throw a dead human body. You guys, them pigs will consume you. Yep. They clean up the earth. So we eat. They fed us the garbage disposal. The catfish, same thing. That thing, it cleans up everything in the water. You see, don't eat
And they can't understand why there's so many plastic particles in the water, which is now in our bodies. They can't understand. You've overfished things that shouldn't have been eaten, so they're not there to clean up those particles. Like, you think the Most High didn't realize, didn't know that these people were going to defile the oceans? He created these things for that very same purpose. For these people, because the Most High always has his receipts to say, "But I created this." You're the ones that literally removed it from the earth, destabilized everything. So now you're walking around sick. When he takes us and he says, "I'm going to sprinkle clean water on you. I'm going to clean you out. I'm going to clean you from the inside out." We will be clean. Can you imagine what we're going to look like versus what they're going to look like? Remember what I sent you, both Yakoba and Karis, the artificial people half merged with robotics and whatnot. That's what they're going to look like when they finally come for us and for our resources, because they're literally dropping, an arm is dropping and they got to screw it back on or something like that. We're going to look, our people are going to be, we're probably going to look closer to Adam, and they're going to look diseased, decayed, and they're probably going to stink. We will smell them before we see them.
This country here is torn up our bodies so bad that I even see it in my lifetime. I'm a boomer kid, but when we were in grade school in the class, they had the fat guy and the fat girl. It was only one. They were teased, but it was only one. The rest of the little girls, they look like Simone Biles, And with this food and steroids they put up to these children, they have nowhere near the health we had. We fall off bikes, didn't have any help. These kids will trip and break a bone in the grass.
Yeah.
And stuff like
that.
They'll do. They degraded this food that they've been feeding. We've got to get to the land literally to heal our bodies.
Exactly. And here's the thing: the reason they're doing the lab grown meat, the GMO, and all that, once again, is for us, right? Now it's falling into those who live in the same place with us, the Gentiles who living here with us. But we're the targets again, just like we were the targets with the eating the pork and all of that kind of stuff, and the shellfish and the lobster and all that. We are the targets, right? Once again, which proves why we got to leave here, right? We can't stay.
It's a death. It's a death sentence. Staying here, it's just a slow execution, and they even among their people, there's so many banned substance that are banned other places in the world, that they have the research, they know it's bad, and they just keep it here. What do you think that's for? And we're just supposed to overlook this stuff. And they brainwash up here. Oh yes, this is just the worst place. This is the best place in the world. You can't have any better, like Disney. This is the best place, the happiest place on earth. Stay here in America and realize you're just ingesting poisons and everything. And what environmental regulations they have, they're pulling them out. So literally.
When I was young, if I think about all of the good food that I had, really, I didn't have many because, we ate pork, right? We ate catfish. We ate all of these forbidden. We ate shrimp. We ate crawfish, sucking the heads. I'm like, most of our diet was bad.
Yeah. Crab. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And
I just see a giant spider. I can't do them things, man. Even as a kid, I looked at it, I was like, I'm not touching. What is that? And a lobster? Are you kidding me? I hear people talking about, oh, it's so nice. I'm like, that looks like a giant insect. Why would I put that in my mouth? That's how I feel when I see it. I just see insects.
My folks would cook lamb. They would get lamb, and they would get, beef. Of course, I'm Midwest. I'm not, deep South. I'm Chicago. But they would get lamb and beef and stuff like that. We had pork, might be one of the meats, but it was pork sausage and stuff for breakfast and stuff like that. As I got older, even before I knew it was Torah, this stuff is not good for me. A lot of us started giving up the pig. If the shrimp is still a stronghold in some of the crab, but the pork is gone with a whole lot of people.
Man, my family, a lot of them still eating the crawfish, man. I went to something recently and they had all of the crawfish on there. One person, she like, "You're not gonna have no crawfish?" I said, "Nah, I don't eat that." She said, "You don't?" Nope.
The seafood boil. Yeah, it gets like you can't even eat the corn. You don't mess up the corn. Come on now.
Yeah.
You Kobe, sometimes I hear the Cajun or the New Orleans in your voice. It's interesting. I know I probably sound bad with the Chicago, whatever.
Look. Some people say, well, you don't sound like a New Orleanian. Well, my accent not that deep. But every now and then you'll get me say neutral ground, you get me say Earl instead of oil, every now and then, it'll slip out.
He tries to hide it. Him try to hide his accent. So, I sometimes, I'll have some South.
You heard me?
On it. Yeah. So, yeah. Tampa, you live here long enough, you get a little bit of a Tampa accent, but it's not. We get a little bit of Floridian accent down here, but to me, it's all kind of like more Gulf Coast. I would say.
My brother was in the military with them Hebrew Geechees, that he was always talking about. Them folks are straight up Hebrews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
the Gula Geechee, much respect to them because they fought, man. Really like they say, the Gula Geechee Wars was really all of our people fighting and doing. Don't let them make you think our people just took that stuff. They were fighting back. They took over the swamps, right? Yep. There was internal resistance. They call them terrorists today. Don't get it twisted. Our people wasn't sitting there just taking.
That's what I'm talking about. They were talking about. I still marvel at that. They're talking about the slaves being chased by the dogs to the swamps and figuring out that the alligators like dog more than they like human, and just jump in the water and escape, and let the pursuers come in with the dogs, and the alligators pass them by and just start chomping on dog. Our people were just some kind of people. That's Eagle Pass into Mexico. We weren't just escaping into Canada. That was where the slaves escaped into Mexico. Well, they talk about the border, Eagle Pass. That's
they try to make you think. They try to make you think Haiti was the only one poisoning people. Don't get it twisted. They weren't.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a record of that from what they were doing just for years. I'm going to say for years because they always did experiments on us. They did that from Johns Hopkins to many of these higher institutions from our women, our men. Look, you even have Tuskegee, like that
Yep.
went on for decades. So we've had to survive the war, because again, when you are a people under a warfare edict, what are they going to do? They're going to try their best to see how they can exterminate you. And I don't think people have understood this. We've lived through a multi-generational, multi-century extermination campaign.
Well, Karis, have you ever thought of, I was just occurred to me, YT epigenetics, as an internal fear of slave insurrection. That's why we police so heavily. They're going to rise up. There's fear of us rising up. They got to tamp them down because that fear of slave insurrection. So they were never comfortable when we were in our enslavement. They never slept well because we always resisted.
Well, they didn't sleep well then. They didn't sleep well then, and they're certainly not sleeping well now, because you could tell, their world is really, it's collapsing, right? And remember, they don't do very well when things are looking bad, and it's looking bad for them. Look, what happened earlier this year with the two Caucasian folks. One went up to they were trying to fire shots at Mar-a-Lago down in South Florida. Brought a gas can and a shotgun.
Wow.
They just have no plans, because they react. They're very reactive, and they're reactive based off of their living conditions. Because again, for us, okay, we're gonna have to adapt. We're gonna have to overcome. We're gonna have to ask the Most High to help us in this, because again, we're really. This is a blessing. We're actually not stuck here. So we're, even though, yes, we're physically confined, right? For the most part, we're physically confined. We could still do business on the continent. We could still do a few things to interact and to work on trade or some sort of value, because again, we are mercantile people. Now, for getting products back and forth, left and right, there's going to be some challenges, but it's not over. It's not anything that you can't overcome. You just have to be very, very innovative in how you're able to work around things, even when you do have these tariffs and things of that nature. So
the world still sees us as an other, as a separate entity, and that's our saving grace. And it remained for us to see ourselves as an other, and as a people, as a nation.
That says, yeah, their own children getting them scared to sleep. Yeah, because they're out of control now. They know that they have lost the narrative. That's what I was explaining to folks. They've now lost the narrative. Because they've lost the narrative, they really can't. They can still try to intimidate, but they really can't intimidate how they once had. Just like, again, in South Florida. This is in I think it was in Broward County. This person, I showed the video. She was standing her ground. The one person had a road rage incident, 62-year-old grandfather. And it's sad that the last moments of his life was in him acting a fool, because she had the cell phone and other people had cell phones. And then, there are some pew-pews and he was laid on out, never to get up again.
Well, he was a metaphor. We're doing the same thing in Iran. Not we, the nations, this country is doing the same thing in Iran. They're literally standing with a gun on you, and it can stop you, and you have nothing to stop this gun, missile thing like that. Yet you're still coming because you're so hell-bent on believing in white supremacy.
Well,
so
You have a great point, Minister Rick. The reality is they have to keep coming for Iran because they lost that game. And you got to remember, they don't know how to back down. Matter of fact, that is a curse of theirs. That's a curse.
They can't win peace. They can't win at peace. They got to be a war. Esau.
Exactly. So imagine that. So remember back in, I think it was like 2022, 2023, they knew what was coming. They saw what was happening back in 2024 at the election. And because as soon as Trump got back in, oh, we're gonna go back, we're gonna get Iran, and like he literally said it that day. That was actually part of his speech. We're gonna do this. So you know what they were doing? They were just working through Iran was working through the global community and saying this and saying that. They were having their speeches. They're like, look, we'll do everything that you all need us to do. Europe, we're gonna comply. Do all this, we're going to do all that. But remember, when this ends up happening, remember, we did everything to uphold the global security and the global world order. And remember who was the ones that didn't care about it. So they were already trying to position themselves to literally take the hit. They knew that the hit was coming. They knew that they were going to get punched in the face. But they were, positioning themselves to say like, hey, rest of the world, look, we knew that this was coming, so when it finally did come, because they were attacked, what? Unprovoked, June of 2025. Remember that one? They were attacked unprovoked, yep. June of 2025. And then they were attacked unprovoked, literally doing negotiations again. In February, in the middle of negotiations, late February, early March.
They were, that just shows that they, like us, know they understand, they predict these people. Mm-hmm. You're so predictable in your violence, we know it's coming.
You know it's coming.
We're preparing ourselves for it, and we know it's coming.
Mm-hmm. They were in like brace for impact.
Yeah.
They knew it was coming.
They saw what ended up happening in Venezuela. It's just a matter of time. And that was actually really quick. I mean, it was less than 60 days. They didn't even give themselves like a 2-month turnaround.
These people are creative. You can read them like a book. If you pay attention, if you don't believe the Kool-Aid, you can see it coming. And they decentralized their authority. They did like that. They're talking about, they're under a dictator. We are under a dictator. They are so decentralized, and the parts can act independently that you can't. They're decapitation proof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now they're mad because, right? What was it? Oh, they violated the terms of the MOU. No, they didn't. Y'all wanted the MOU. And you gave them that. They had a 10-point plan. Remember, the U.S. had a 10-point plan, and Iran said no. We're not going to agree to this. We're going to agree to this. They agreed to the what? The 14-point plan. Remember, Trump had signed that with his trip over to the G7 mid-June, 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago. And he couldn't even uphold that, not even 21 days.
Well, you got to understand that rules are for you. We do what we do.
Rules are for thee, not for me.
Russia found that out the hard way as well.
Yeah.
Because Angela Merkel said we were never going to honor these agreements. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. And you heard Vance say that. He said, look, we weren't going to honor it. They're just trying to make sure that they could get oil again. Because to me, again, this to me is the last push. When I say the crisis deepens, but what's happening is all of these things geopolitically, every round that they go through, America's tumbling, and it's tumbling, and it's tumbling. There ain't no World Cup is not going to fix this.
Well, Karis, you could also say, with all of this happening, with what Angela Merkel said, with the fact that Putin from since 2014 has been in the media talking about how America, how Europe, how the UN, they did not honor the agreements, how we've seen how America is acting towards to Iran. The rest of the world, now let's just say America's taken out of the picture. The rest of the world is looking and thinking that, hold on, you people, referring to the European bloc now, you want to try and get involved in the BRICS? No, we cannot. We cannot trust someone like you. They're always forever going to be on the outside.
Yep.
All the curses that were on us is on them. The same way that black people have constantly been at the bottom on the outside, that is going to be their state. I guarantee it. You can't trust them. How can you trust them to do business on a basic level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, what Europe is going to do, they're going to scapegoat the United States. The United States is a scapegoat. Is that it? That's it. That's why.
The
Harlot
exposed them. The harlot exposed them. How could you? They're angry. You let the cat out of the bag. This fool is going to destroy us all. That's what they're angry, not at what you did, the way you did it. You just let everything. You made it so overt that everybody, you exposed us. You exposed us. And you're trying to throw us under the bus. Well, that's Game of Thrones. This country, U.S., is trying to throw them under the bus, and Europe's trying to throw this country under the bus because neither want to take the blame or the hit or the pay that they're going to have to pay back to the Most High's people.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see what's happening. I didn't hear Trump provide any type of an off ramp, because again, they try to build things on up. They have their moments that they are fighting, and then they ramp down. So they ramp up and then they ramp down. I haven't seen a ramp down yet.
I think they may be trying to ramp down in Ukraine, and a certain person went over there talking big about how we're going to ramp up and do all this stuff in Ukraine. And maybe the other folks didn't like the fact because they're trying to pivot to the Middle East that he's going over there, and he suddenly comes home and expires. So I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, So Trump was like, yeah, can we have you go to Moscow, or can we have, Trump wanted Zelensky to go to Moscow. They can't support that war. They can't support that front. So basically it's going to be this. They're gonna have to capitulate. So that war in Ukraine is going to look like it's going to be over. In my opinion, it looks like it's going to be over. They'll probably have like a big old ramp up, to try their best to, as that last kind of parting shot, and then they'll have to capitulate. They'll have to be on Russia's terms, because again, just in my opinion, they can't sustain Ukraine's front. They can't sustain an Iranian front. And honestly, I look at it like this. I think that the U.S. thought it was going to be an easy win in Iran. I really do.
Venezuela 2.0.
Yes.
2.0.
And when they got that resistance, and when they felt the economic shock, the economic pain of the Strait of Hormuz, they did not want to look. You can't lose face now. You already went into it. You already committed yourself. You can't lose face.
They went after a weak little creature and found out it was a honey badger.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell y'all what I think. I'm not too sure that this isn't a complex dialectical war like I think World War I and II was, which had many outcomes that they wanted to fulfill, which was like, a sacrifice, basically millions of people to their, their small case G God. Also, it was to position people to allow that Middle Eastern nation to come into existence. So I think it's sort of the same thing with Iran, right? Like, I think there's a complex dialectic of Freemason, occult religious leaders at the top. So like the middle level people, like, the generals and, the soldiers on below don't know anything, but the ones at the top are part of the cabal, right? This global rulership. And the reason I say that, because everything don't look like it's legit to me. Like, for instance, how you at war with Iran and you have in that Middle Eastern nation homosexual festival. How are you able to still have trade and commerce and all these things if all these places were getting hit, right? Something's not adding up, right? The so-called infrastructure that's supposed to have gotten damaged, I don't see it, right? And so, we get a lot of news, right, that tells us a lot of things, but we can't prove it.
Yeah.
And because there's no independent journalism going on. Right. And there seems to be more going on here. I'm not saying that we're not at war. I'm just saying that I think at the top, they could be playing us like chess pieces, like even with Putin. Putin supposedly for us. And in a sense, he helps Africa and he's resisting the New World Order. He says he's against, the degradation of society and family relationships. But at the same time, from my understanding, he grew up with them folks, right, in the Middle East, right, the Rev 2939s. And, he even protects them, from my understanding, because they, once again, own a lot of the commerce in Russia. So there's a lot of stuff that don't make sense. And the only thing that I can sort of reason out is that the cabal at the top is playing a complex chess game that we're all pawns in. So.
Jacob, as you think about it, a lot of this was prescription of Albert Pike's Third World War, and that these religious entities would come and be consumed and things like that. I mean, he's not a prophet and things like that, but if you're representing the people that are at the top actually orchestrating these things, you may have knowledge of what is to come. So, yeah, I think you're right to look at it from these different perspectives and not necessarily cast all the characters into certain roles, the obvious roles. So
and here's the thing, I'm gonna ask Brother Karras this right quick. Karras, what do they call that location when you're at war? What's the word y'all use for that? It's called a theater.
Theater. Area responsibility, theater.
So the world's a stage.
The world's a stage. I mean, they play with us all the time, right? So.
Absolutely. Well, this has been over 3 hours. We're going to have to get some final comments. This has been real good. Thank you, Brother Yakova, for, coming through, because I know you're busy in the background plotting your escape.
I am. I've been plotting for like over 3 years.
Now folks can see. Gas is running out. Everybody's trying to plot their escape.
I've been working years on my escape, Karras. It's just slow. But it's been good breaking bread with y'all, sharing with y'all, and I enjoy it. So love y'all. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Shalom. All right. Who would like to go?
I'll go, because I gotta go. As I said, shalom to everyone in the chat. I've enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on. I do enjoy, just spending time with the family. I do. Even if you don't see me typing, I'm listening. I'm usually kind of busy with my hands or whatever, so I'm usually doing something or writing or whatever. But I've enjoyed this. I really have. I do feel that stuff is going to get really weird as after this weekend. I really do. It might be quiet for a little while, like maybe a week, 2 weeks max, if that. And then after that, I feel that, yeah, all hell is going to break loose. We're going to start seeing things happening. People are going to start moving differently. And, you know, so for me, I'm like, let this be the last, as for as much as possible, use this time to just stock up everything, you know, just have things ready, you know, for, I don't know, whatever's going to be coming. You know, we know, but we don't know because these people are crazy, you know. And like I've always said, and I say this every time I leave, like, let's kind of limit the amount of time that we spend around these people. They're crazy. And we can see that. We can smell the crazy on them, you know. I don't mean to be talking ill of them, but it's like, we got to tell the truth. The fact that some of them are coming out and saying this already, things that we've been saying, like, oh,
they're
yeah.
acknowledging it. Yeah, they're acknowledging that.
So it's like, they don't tell the truth. And the fact that they're saying something that we've said, we know it's the truth. And even we have a lot of discernment where we can feel it in our bones. We know what they're saying is true because it's what we've always been saying. It's what we feel. You know, it's not time. Like, look, the same way how they didn't want to, there was a reason they didn't want to stay around us because the curses were on us, right? They didn't want to be around us because they didn't want to catch that heat. Now it's like they want us to be around them, and we're like, no, I think, and it's not just them, it's also, I'm so, like I said the last time, I'm so proud of you guys, like, you know, with the Asian, it's not even about, you know what, I'm going to say this quickly. I thought you people were supposed to be intelligent. What is going on? I've seen so many, I'm talking to the Asian community, I've seen so many of them coming up talking about, how can you be boycotting? I'm like, are you stupid? Like, for real, are you being stupid, or are you just gaslighting because you've seen them doing it, so you think you can do it? We are not. And I'm saying we because it's we globally. We are not boycotting. We are redistributing our wealth. We are tired of you people being mean as hell to us while taking our money in the process and thinking that we owe you our money. You're expecting us to pay you to be mean spirited to us. Get out here. You people are nuts. You're really nuts. And it's like, they know this, but yet still they want to start talking about, oh, well, you need to, and they think they're going to get like force us to still continue to give them money. If you're so, if what you're doing is so fine and so good, then why aren't you people spending money in your own communities? Why don't we see, why is it not you? Why aren't white people coming and spending money in your community? You know, so it's time for us to just be like, depart from us. We don't know you. Yeshua said, you're going to hate you because you're just like me. And we're doing just like him. We're telling Satan, depart from us. I never, or not even, he didn't say that to thing. I'm misquoting scriptures, but that's what we're going to say. We're going to say, we never really knew you. Depart from us. Leave us alone. Just leave us alone. We just want to be left alone. We just want to live our life. And that's the thing. As a people, we're not in other people's business. We just want to be. We want to have our cookouts. We want to have our barbecues. We want to just chill. The sun's out. You guys ain't enjoying it. Fine. We can. Let us alone. Just let us enjoy. Let us chill. Let us exhibit. You don't like it, just be in your caves and leave us alone. Anyway, shalom, everybody.
They're not trying to be in them caves because they see that something's in them caves.
I want to
Hellboy treatment.
I want to circle back to what Jehovah talked about and what I agree with. Examine yourself to see that you are in the faith, that you be in the faith. If Yeshua is not God for you, if he and the Father aren't one, then none of this matters, because you are not redeemed in that case, and he's not your redeemer. So those who are Old Testament, you say just believe in the law, you will be condemned under law, because you have not met the standard of the law, of the perfect sacrifice. We're not, there's no daily sacrifice at the temple. We have none of that system is gone. It's been taken down. We have Yahusha as the perfect sacrifice, is our only way of entry into eternal life. We have a covenant relationship view. He is the lamb, but he's coming back as the lion. He will execute judgment. But though, if you know law and you follow law, then you'll be condemned under law without recognizing him as your sacrifice. Because under law, you need a perfect sacrifice, and he is the only one in history that was eligible for us. Beyond that, the word says, I know the plans I have for you. That's if you're his people, for good and not for evil. That's what we got coming.
All right.
Praise God. Thanks for allowing me on the show.
Thank you, Minister Rick. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Shalom. Shout out to Gino Felipe. He showed me this. This is late breaking as of less than 30 minutes ago. So Trump says U.S. will get paid to guard Strait of Hormuz. Maybe we'll call it the guardian angel of the Strait. See, not only did he break the promise of the MOU, now he's going to try to shake down these other countries. What again? This is now at the point. If we're seeing this, something very interesting is happening or getting ready to happen. And this is CBSNews.com. President Trump said Monday that the U.S. would become the guardian of the Strait of Hormuz and suggested that other countries will pay the U.S. for securing it. Mr. Trump told Fox News that the U.S. was going to keep the strait and will probably run it. Wow. We'll become the guardian of the strait. Maybe we'll call it the guardian angel of the strait, and we should be reimbursed for that. He did not name any countries he expected to pay under such an arrangement and implied the Persian Gulf energy producers should. Well, yeah, they're not ramping down. They can only ramp up, because again, when you have that level of crazy talk, and it's not sane, right? Unless you do a couple things, unless you do that end clear option that's relatively new in warfare, or something else. They don't have control unless they do something like that. Those are drastic measures, and again, they don't know how to lose gracefully. They've lost, but now it's going to be, how bad do you lose? And this is now at that point of time where it's like, if people can't see that it's like making a situation worse, right? Hey, if you lost, now you're going to try to not just run from the cops, right? Now you're going to try and shoot at them, and then you're going to. It's really bad. It's a really bad situation, and all he's doing now, he's showing the rest of the world who he is, and he's actually showing the rest of the world who America is. So we tried. we would have healed Babylon. She refused to be healed, and we just now had to get out the way. We couldn't help. So very unfortunate situation to see all of this going down. It is not very fun at all. It's so when people laugh or a joke about things of that nature. It's really not. It's very sad to see the state of what's happening, because again, those have some really big, they have, it has a tremendous impact. And again, our sons and daughters are it's a generation that they're dealing with this, that they're in the military working through this. So no, there's no ramp up part. It's now, or ramp down. It's now going to be at a bigger scale. And that means that we need to seek the Most High even more diligently, because again, he's the only one that's going to bring us on out of here. It's him. So don't be afraid. Don't be fearful. Know that the Most High is with his people. So with that said, family, I do have to get up on out of here. Got to get things going. So with that, be blessed. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so. Cash App $COVAWK1. You can do PayPal or Zelle at Karasi@MSN.com. Karasi@MSN.com. And I definitely appreciate you all support of this channel. That's what is getting me through. And also please keep me up in prayer, because there are some projects I'm trying to work through, and that is just how the Most High is doing a work in me in patience and understanding. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, I got to get up on out of here and get some work done. And with that said, Most High willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, unless YouTube gets mad at me, for language of my panel, but I would say this: everything is consistent with what is being said on social media, and that's even coming from the white pill bottle. So please be safe on out there, and please use spiritual discernment, and always give the Most High praise and glory through his Son, Yahusha HaMashiach. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.